$5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 to bring up whatever's on your mind. You can change the subject. You can bring up something going on around you that you just want people to hear about. Maybe you want our opinions on something, talk something through. It's up to you. It's Free Talk Live. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Chris.
And Chris, one of the main topics you want to talk about tonight, at least, because the topics always change on Free Talk Live throughout the conversation, is that California apparently wants to secede, or there's more stories coming out about it.
There's more and more stories about California secession movements, and I do like a Google news feed alert whenever something about secession comes up. And, you know, for the first part of the year, it was mostly foreign, you know, stuff going on in Canada, stuff going on in Europe, stuff going on all over the place. Very little domestic. Occasionally you would see it. But today, my news feeds are filled with stories coming out of California. And they all say basically this: there is no way California could ever secede because you can't do that. That's Texas versus white. And, you know, is this even realistic? But over the last week or so, I've noticed it's not just the big papers. It's not like the LA Times telling people you can't secede. But now it's the smaller papers. It's not, you know, the big San Francisco papers. It's these small town papers that are writing things of saying, yeah, well, it would be very difficult. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting how things have changed from absolutely, you could never do that, to say you want secession means you want slavery back, which is where it starts.
Which is so funny because now the leftists in California are the ones that want to secede. And I mean, I completely agree with them that they should have the right to do that, and that it would even be better for them and everyone if they did that.
Yeah.
But it's just funny because maybe like 10 years ago, they would have never thought they'd be wearing a shirt that says California secede. Because they are the type of leftists, like the extreme leftists in California, who would normally be like, what? Tennessee wants to secede? Well, of course they do, because racism, or they want slavery
back. Yeah, it's really interesting. And now it's, you know, it's to the point where they're saying, you know, there are some other things about, and there's been more positive coverage coming out of California about the Greater Oregon plan. Nice. Which is, you know, that's where a certain number of counties in Eastern Oregon, that's where I grew up, are fed up with the very left side of the state, which is very left in every sense of the word.
West.
Would consider joining Idaho and making Idaho a larger state and Oregon a smaller state. It's funny because it affects so few people in Oregon. Like, the number of congressmen wouldn't even change because there is so little population in the counties that want to get the hell out. Wow,
that's a crazy stat.
Yeah.
It would probably change the lives of the people in the Eastern Oregon a lot, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you know, if I still lived out there, I'm not sure if... I'd be of the, you know, I'll take C, none of the above. But yeah, Idaho has gone kind of ultra MAGA over the last couple of years.
Yeah, in fact, I've seen like straight up racist people, as in like racist against everybody but white people, that talk about it openly with their real names, and they mostly live in like Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Coeur d'Alene's always been kind of a hotbed.
Really?
Yeah. There was a lot of, you know, anti-government, yes, but also, anti anybody who's not white stuff going on in the northern end of Idaho for decades. I mean, this is nothing new. So yeah,
I've never been there.
Yeah, around Boise and stuff like that. Once the tech boom hit and companies started relocating, then you had a lot of influence from California into the the middle and the southern portions of Idaho. So, but my feet haven't been on the ground out there in decades, so it would be good to get a caller from Idaho to tell us what's going on out there. But the point being is people in California are talking more positively about what they treated as a joke story, the fact that some counties in Oregon could leave and join Idaho. And now they're saying, well, maybe that's not unreasonable. You're just redrawing the map a little bit and putting people of like minds together. I mean, that's kind of the idea.
It's like people did the most that they could. The people that could move at all moved to states that more aligned with their values around 2020 to like 2022.
Yeah.
It was a huge thing. It was happening in every region of America.
The COVID migration. Yeah, it was crazy. And I get that. And I'm glad people were able to do that. And I will say, if you're just moving for political reasons, then that doesn't always work out great for you. You still have that, crazy liberal who lives across the street from you. Mm-hmm. It's just in a new place. And I see that a lot in the people that move to Florida.
Yeah. What I was going to say about it, I guess I forgot that part of like my train of thought was like people did what they could. They moved to a different state, but that doesn't mean that they are living in their ideal communities. And why can't we? Why can't we break into smaller pieces?
Yeah.
Like, I believe in secession as in like Alberta wanting to just be its own country and not be part of America or Canada. That is awesome. But also things like Oregon being able to break into more pieces.
Yeah.
Different kind of secession, yeah.
And I would love that. I would love for us to start adding states again. When was the last time? How many years has it been? 1959 since we added a star to that flag?
59? That seems recent to me.
1959. Well,
is that Hawaii?
Hawaii and Alaska were right around the same time.
That still seems way more recent than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but that we haven't done it since. And I think that would be a healthy thing if you broke it up into smaller states and maybe had more representation in Congress. That might be a good thing. Or better yet, just let us leave. Mm-hmm. Just let us get out. And that's what people in California are considering, because they have, the mortal enemy of the left is coming down on them hard. And Trump has, the view in these articles is, Trump invaded our state. He came in after,
I believe that,
after the illegal aliens. And
I agree with them on that. Do you?
It was, and they didn't ask for help. Trump commandeered their National Guard, which is not something that can be done according to U.S. law without the governor asking for.
Wow. And it was like directly against the wishes of the governor. He was like, don't do that.
Yeah, but he did it anyway. And
it's like Trump was saying states aren't sovereign.
And that battle's going to get even more, I was listening today. Apparently he said something about, we need a national program to do away with the problem of homelessness. And he was saying, basically, these people, they need to be where they can get the care they need, lock them up in an asylum, which I think was a direct quote.
Wow.
They need help, so just lock them up in an asylum.
Yeah, didn't he build a whole, basically small, hot-looking cage for people surrounded by alligators in Florida?
Alligator Alley, yeah, that was something. So, and apparently he wants to tackle homelessness, and one of the places he talked about was, you've got these beautiful cities in California just overrun, and we have to go in and fix it for them. We'll do that. It's like, okay, well, that's going to push more people towards considering leaving the country. You know, last year the movie Warfare came out. Did you see that?
Does it have a longer name?
No.
Oh, you mean Civil War?
No, I'm Civil War. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. That's
I was
exactly
thinking
what I
about
thought
another
of.
movie by him.
Okay, I don't
yeah.
know Warfare, but yeah, I didn't see it, but I do know which movie you mean, Civil War, because there's the guy with the red glasses, and he says, "What kind of American are you?" before he thinks to shoot or whatever.
Kirsten Dunst's husband.
Really?
In real life.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just kind of crazy when it came out. It's like, you know, in this fictitious world that Alex Garland has created, California and Texas are both in open rebellion. And everybody, I think the common thing I could say, they were like, Texas is a long shot, but I could see that happening before California, you know. But now I think that's all changed due to Trump.
Wow. My grandma and aunt, they're both very left-wing. They live in California. They're from there. And they both love Hillary Clinton, definitely voted for Hillary Clinton and not Trump both times. Not Trump both times, not Trump all three times, but they love Hillary Clinton. So if that paints a picture for you. And I saw a picture recently where my aunt and grandma went to some protest, and my aunt was wearing a California Secede shirt. And she's my great aunt.
That's so cool.
She's maybe 80.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think this is gonna have legs, and I think the more that Trump does Trump, the more it's gonna increase the odds. And you know, I hope for secession only because I hope some state crosses that line so that other states can say, wait a minute, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we should consider that.
Yeah.
And selfishly, I really only hope for New Hampshire. I could care less about anybody else.
I think it would be helpful if more did, so we wouldn't have the whole ire of the United States empire on New Hampshire.
Right.
I don't really think that New Hampshire is going to get attacked militarily, but the small chance that would happen would be
I absolutely
less.
believe that they would roll in here with force.
Really?
They may not start out shooting, but they would come in and decide that they're going to occupy. Yeah, I have no doubt that they would do that.
Well, I feel like it would be a smaller chance if more states were doing it.
I think so too. And California is, I mean, their size is not to be neglected. The size of their economy, the size of their population, the size of how many military bases, important military bases, are in California. You know, and the size of their National Guard, I'm sure that's got to be proportional too. I'm sure that they could put a whole bunch of boots on the ground, and there's a whole bunch of U.S. assets they could seize.
You think California would seize U.S. assets on their ground?
I think if it came down to it, if it ended up looking like it was it looked like Washington was going to play hardball, I have no doubt that people would advocate and approve of the California governor seizing U.S. assets in California.
Well, I would hope that if the United States did try to come after any state that seceded, that the states would be able to hold their own and fight back. But I would really rather it happen peacefully.
Yeah.
So that's why in New Hampshire, the two bills that came out trying to gain independence, they had the word peaceful in the language.
Yes.
Both times, that we wanted to peacefully secede. So anybody that has any thoughts on this can call in. The number is 603-283-6160. But let's get into this article from the New York Times. I had to, what the heck? I swear it said the New York Times when I first clicked on it, but now it says the Sonoma Index Tribune.
I think I might have sent that one to you.
Okay, maybe I just saw the font and I thought it was the New York Times.
Nice choice of font.
Wow.
Yeah, this is not a big paper, a smaller paper, but yeah, let's see what the tone is in it.
So from the Sonoma Index Tribune, not the New York Times, the article is called, Could Trump Drive State to Secede? I think it means states. Could Donald Trump's policies drive a serious California secession movement? There can be no doubt that the relatively few Californians strongly interested in becoming an independent country have had high hopes that President Trump's war on California would drive many new adherents to their camp. So far, it is not happening at a level that can be taken seriously.
So that's interesting. They talk about that in this article. And in a lot of articles, they'll say, well,
kind of rude.
Look, only 44% of people approve of the idea of secession that we polled. It's like,
that's huge.
You hear what you're saying? 44% of the people that you talk to, that's nearly half at this very early point.
In Alberta, Canada,
right?
It's about 50% right now, and it's getting really serious there.
That's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. The thing is, people think that we did a whole article, maybe even like a couple articles on it during PorcFest about Alberta wanting to secede, and the thing about it then is that people think that the feds of Canada basically won't let Alberta leave because even though they've been treating Alberta really bad, like they get all their resources from there, so they would fight back basically. And that's a big that's a strong point to bring up with California too. Like, would the United States, no matter who the president is at the time, allow California to leave with all of their resources?
Yeah.
Minus water.
Yeah. Yeah. California doesn't have any of that.
Yeah.
But they could try to choke them off. And there could be a lot of ways this could play out. I think what you said about peaceful secession is, I think that's in every secessionist movement I've seen, like I'm familiar with the Texas movements and the stuff with Greater Oregon. It's just been, they emphasize that, and that's important to do. I mean, and because if you choose the side of peace from the start, then that automatically makes the other guy the aggressor. So.
Yep, that is a good point. And it's just, nobody wants to invite, like, the rest of their lives being in a war and then getting killed by the United States. Nobody wants to invite that just because, but it's not fair that people are being bullied into silence. Like, yeah, I'd like for us to be actually, represented in a community that everybody around us believes in what we believe in, not have to be controlled by a faraway land, DC, like very far away when you live in California.
Yeah.
But I just won't say anything because I'm afraid of what they'll do to us.
Yeah.
That's what's so sick about it. That like people would possibly not even be taking it seriously. Like how this article says that. Like it shouldn't be taken seriously at the level that's happening.
And believe me, this is I believe one of the more positive articles I came across. But let's see where else it goes. So
they say so far it's not happening at a level that can be taken seriously. That's the upshot of a new poll taken by the YouGov survey service for the Carlsbad-based independent California Institute. Let's tot up a few things Trump has done to harm California. He's eliminated the state's unique ability to make smog rules for the state's vehicles, once thought securely written into the 1970 Clean Air Act. He's invented a series of Los Angeles riots, which were at most a few incidents of vandalism and used to send thousands of soldiers into Southern California. I will have to say, like, I didn't hear anything crazy come out of that when I really expected it to get crazy because of the way that the media was portraying it.
Yeah.
And people should understand that when I say, like, oh, at the beginning of COVID, I'm afraid this is going to get crazy. At the beginning of the news about the riots, oh, I'm afraid this is going to get crazy. Usually what I mean is I'm afraid the government or the deep state is going to make it crazy.
Right.
I didn't think like the way that a lot of people thought, like, oh, this virus, I'm afraid it's going to kill us all, except the idea that maybe they engineered something that can like start the zombie apocalypse.
We're going to find that out. Yeah, I think it's good that these things are being said, and what we're hearing in the story is what bothers the liberals in California, which I think all this hinges on. They've got to be upset.
And the thing is, we can disagree with the stuff they want to do, but who am I to tell Californians they shouldn't create these laws about what kind of smog?
They can do whatever they want in California.
If somebody there doesn't want to live under that, they should be able to just move to somewhere else, and then those Californians can subject themselves to it. You know?
Yes. No argument.
Yeah.
At all.
It says, so they bring up the riots that they're saying Trump invented. It was at least the media, if not, Trump leading the call, calling it very violent and everything, and saying that the National Guard needed to be brought in. He's eliminated funding for bringing English-learning school children and migrant kids into the academic mainstream.
Yep. I'm sure there's budget cuts that are taking money away from programs for English as a second language and everything else. Yeah. I have no doubt. I don't doubt them.
Yeah, I don't doubt it either. These are only a few anti-California measures he's taken, besides ordering the region to undergo the nation's most intensive deportation drive ever, claiming to go after seriously criminal illegal immigrants, but mostly picking up undocumented workers who broke no other laws. I could see that, too.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, when they start going after farm workers, I have no doubt that they're illegal. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to say you're going to go after violent criminals, have names. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for Juan Valdez because he killed a guy with a cup of coffee or whatever, and go arrest him. But don't just say, everybody here who doesn't have a good American accent, get in the truck. I mean, because that's basically what it was.
Wow. Yeah, that's a really good point. And isn't it probably hurting the economy of basically everyone when you're messing up the workers, or you're taking away workers for food sources in California where all of us eat from?
Occasionally, I like a salad.
Yeah. And I just mean just the economy alone.
Yeah.
It's not doing anyone any favors.
And sidebar, I mean, this country, its economy as it exists today is built on illegal migrant work. Mm-hmm. You can't pick vegetables. You can't pick fruit. You can't get Americans to work in slaughterhouses. So meat, vegetables, and fruits, I mean, so you're just going to do away with those? We're just going to eliminate those from our diet? Nah, don't think so.
603-283-6160 is the phone number. Bring up whatever's on your mind. You can disagree with us. Tell us we're dead wrong. What do you think? Should California be allowed to secede? Do you think they even can? More Free Talk Live coming up. 603-283-6160.
My name is Angel Rach. I'm a mother of 2 teenage children, and I fought all the way to the Supreme Court for the right to use the medicine that saved my life. I've been permanently disabled for 10 years, with an inoperable brain tumor, wasting syndrome, and several other serious conditions. For 4 years, I was in a wheelchair, in so much pain, I couldn't even hug my kids. The hardest part was looking in their eyes and seeing how much they were suffering because of my medical condition. The medicine that gave me my life back and gave my kids their mom back was cannabis, also known as medical marijuana. With medical marijuana, I can walk, maintain my weight, and I can be a mom. Without it, my doctors believe that I would die. To learn more about medical marijuana, contact Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or on the web at mpp.org.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. More than 100,000 people have fled the bloodiest border fighting between Thailand and Cambodia in a decade. FSN's Laura Westbrook reports.
The Thai Interior Ministry said more than 100,000 people from 4 border provinces had been moved to nearly 300 temporary shelters. Fighting on Thursday was focused on 6 locations, according to the Thai army. Ground troops, backed up by tanks, battled for control of territory, while Cambodia fired rockets and shells into Thailand, and the Thais scrambled F-16 jets to hit military targets across the border. Both sides blamed each other for firing first. The fighting marks a dramatic escalation escalation in a long-running dispute between the neighbors over their shared 800-kilometer frontier. Dozens of kilometers in several areas are contested, and fighting broke out between 2008 and 2011. A UN court ruling in 2013 settled the matter for over a decade, but the current crisis erupted in May when a Cambodian soldier was killed in a clash. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
France's president said that he will formally recognize the state of Palestine in September, making it the first G7 country to do so. FSN's Ross Cullen reports.
This is a major decision by the French leader, though not a departure from France's long-standing position of recognising a two-state solution. His move has been hailed by the French left and condemned by the right, and Emmanuel Macron will be holding a call with the British Prime Minister and the German Chancellor on Friday to discuss the situation in Gaza and what the World Health Organization says is man-made mass starvation. Ross Cullen, Paris.
The singer Ozzy Osbourne died at the age of 76. The British musician was known as one of the founding fathers of heavy metal and became a global megastar as the frontman of Black Sabbath. His style and music inspired generations of musicians to come, but as well as his music, he was also known for his wild lifestyle, as FSN's John Beaver reports.
His battles with drink and drugs was well known, and those dependency issues led to what many people said was a Jekyll and Hyde situation, where when he was fighting his addiction demons, he became a very difficult man to be around. He credited his wife Sharon with helping save his life and keep him alive for many decades and really turn his life around. And of course, it was alongside her and their children when he became hugely famous all over again, when their pioneering reality TV show, The Osbournes, made it on air in the early 2000s. That really brought him a whole new generation of fans.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And Free Talk Live is brought to you by LibertyMinded.com. Official Free Talk Live gear, like t-shirts and hoodies, are available at LibertyMinded.com. Plus, you'll find a unique collection of cool and funny liberty-oriented clothing at LibertyMinded.com. That's LibertyMinded.com.
What was it?
LibertyMinded.com.
I love that read just because we can't stop saying LibertyMinded.com.
It's a great website, and you can get official Free Talk Live gear there, which I have a lot of.
Yes, we all do.
I have, like one of my only jackets I wear all autumn and spring, because it's just a zip-up jacket. It's not like a whole coat.
Right.
It can just go on with whatever when I'm walking out the door or walking my dog or whatever. It says Free Talk Live, and it's a zip-up, and it's black.
Nice.
I don't really do the pull-over hoodie thing. I don't understand people that love that. I feel claustrophobic or something.
It's a black hoodie that you look like, but people won't assume you're a gang member.
Yeah.
Which is good.
They'll assume you're a
crazy
free
libertarian
gang member.
Yeah, crazy free keeners.
So we have a caller on the line, so I'm going to go to them first. But first, with you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Chris.
And let's go to the phones. Unscreened caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
California secede over my moist, dead body.
Ew.
What you do with it, Bonnie?
Ew.
Why do you guys keep asking to leave? You can leave. Like your boy.
Yes.
Roger Ver. Roger Ver. He left.
He did.
And he chose another state. He
chose another
down,
country.
He chose another state. Yes, he chose another government. He had the chance to be stateless.
Yes.
He declined that option. He declined freedom. Yes, stateless. There's an option. when you renounce citizenship, you can claim statelessness. There's your option for freedom, guys.
How do you know this?
I actually never heard that.
Have you researched this, Skeeter? I'm just curious.
Yes.
Okay.
Extensively. Well, actually, yeah. It's in the documents on his website on freerogernow.org.
Okay.
He talked about declining that option of statelessness.
Interesting.
I knew about it before. I brought it up before. So what makes you think, if this is the most principled libertarian you guys know, right? He left. He wasn't crying victim like you guys. I thought libertarians loved individual responsibility.
It's not
why do you guys
just
cling
for
to
us. Why do you assume that we just want this for us? I don't think anybody in New Hampshire should live underneath the thumb.
Why are you imposing your wishes on everybody? Obviously, if everybody agreed to it, the citizens could dissolve the government right now.
Not true.
They don't want to.
Not true. Not true. Skeeter, you're talking crazy. If all the citizens, let me say that 70% of the citizens, and that would be up from, what was our high polling number?
It was like 50 in Alberta is like the highest I've ever seen.
Right.
44 in California.
But let's talk about New Hampshire. It was
like 15.
And then it went to like 34.
Oh, that was like, would be open to the idea.
Okay, yeah.
More of a vague question.
So let's say we got that up to 70%. It still wouldn't matter. Mm-hmm. It would depend on whether our politicians
allowed
you'd have to vote. You'd have to convince politicians that it would be best to get behind this. Otherwise, none of it goes anywhere.
So what? They're elected by the people. Ultimately.
We can't even do smaller.
So the people have ultimate.
You are talking to people
why are you guys being so behaved?
Listen. Well, maybe it's because there's 2 instead of 3 people, but I was going to say we can't even get much smaller things by that most people in a state agree with, like things like weed being legal. In New Hampshire, most people, and that's not an exaggeration, I don't have a number in front of me.
I think it's somewhere around 75% who have no problem with legal weed.
Yep.
Unfortunately, in that case, I think we have libertarians standing in the way because all the proposals. Excuse me?
Why legalize weed? I mean, the drug
I don't want to legalize it, to be fair. Maybe I'd be standing in the way.
The drug war is doing more than libertarians are in destroying the government.
He has a different reason.
This is a good point.
You guys
his is a different. It's a more of a sorry, can you tell me the word again, Skeeter?
An accelerationist.
Yeah, an accelerationist view.
I get that.
Mine is different. I think that legalization is not preferable to decriminalization because we don't have to legalize things that are like wheat or like tomatoes. That's the obvious, always the example given.
Right.
We shouldn't have to have some kind of special category for weed where we have to ask the government or have these like reasons the government will let you, but then you can't if you're not 21 and or whatever else.
Right. Yeah. Just remove it from any law. Remove the word cannabis.
Yes.
Or marijuana from any document. I like that idea. But we don't have that. We have proposals that are put forward by governors that are saying, well, I'll absolutely legalize it as long as there's some mechanism that I can sell it in all my state liquor stores and we can profit off of we can come up with another rigged market like we do with alcohol. So,
and just like crazy taxes if they don't want to literally do a monopoly. They literally wanted to do a monopoly in New Hampshire where they were the only ones allowed to sell marijuana. People should be able to just grow it in their backyard, sell it to all of their friends and smoke it themselves, do whatever they want to do with it. People don't have to just smoke it. They can turn it into like oils and distill it all crazy and get really high.
I haven't really followed closely what's going on in Vermont since they've done it, but I know their legalization involved home growing, and you could have 6 plants. I mean, doesn't say how small they have to be.
People should be allowed to have 100 plants.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could have 100 tomato plants.
What about kids?
Kids should be able to have 100 marijuana plants. I really don't think it'd be a big problem. I know
Skeeter,
so many.
if you can find anyone to reproduce with you, then yes, have 100.
Yeah, like parents should be allowed to allow their kids. It's not like I think kids should be allowed to do anything like without their parents' permission. But
yeah, you're actually consistent on that, Bonnie.
Yep.
Parents should own their kids.
Yeah,
well,
I'm
actually,
consistent on that.
if you're consistent with the market, the parents shouldn't even be the ones who should own their kids necessarily. It's the most productive person who should own the kids.
That's not market. he thinks that the idea that this thing called evolution can choose what's the most productive thing should always be who it gets handed over to.
This is where
it's so subjective.
Yeah, he goes a little wonky and gets completely off point and gets flustered because nobody.
Selection's subjective?
No, I think it works fine over hundreds of years or thousands of years.
Natural things like that aren't. First of all, we're talking about like plants and.
I'm talking about general evolution, mimetic evolution, business strategies, behavior.
Yes, those things do ebb and flow in different
directions. Does that
directions.
actually use the word? Do those sciences or whatever? Do they actually use the word natural selection? Like, natural selection in business? Yeah. Do they seriously? Genuine question.
So I've been through
no, it's not developed yet, but.
Skeeter hasn't finished his paper.
I'm pushing the movement for it.
He hasn't finished his paper yet.
Yeah. I'm actually working with ChatGPT. I've been. This is the most productive I've been. I've cranked out a bunch of papers. Articulating all my views. I've actually put on like 24 videos in the last couple days.
I actually am happy about that, Skeeter, because I don't think I actually followed you. If I could find your account again, because I found it before. But we're always saying go ahead.
Evolutionary Capitalism on YouTube.
Yes, I found that.
Check out
I'm
my
a
latest
follower.
videos on taxation is not theft.
I have not got a single notice that you published anything.
That happens to me with a lot of people.
Yeah,
really?
You may have an issue with YouTube. So check into that. I'm pretty sure I follow you.
Just put out like 24 videos.
Dang.
Summing up all my points of view, including taxation is not theft.
We're always trying to tell Skeeter if his ideology is so sound and everything, he should be able to write a book that explains all the questions. But it's always like, well, I haven't figured this part out yet. Things like that. Like he can change it at a whim.
He hasn't figured out how to explain it to idiots like you and I.
Thanks for the call, Skeeter. And the number, if anybody would like to join us, is 603-283-6160. Let's go to the other caller on the line. Unscreened caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Well, it's a few ways of phrasing things. Nowadays, you got these immigration and customs enforcement goons going around. Notice I said goons, which is what they are. Running around enforcing blatantly unjust laws. Okay, and a few things, a few phraseologies I want to share with people here is that while thousands of people die of starvation around the world because of ICE goons, and now the goons are complaining if you shoot them with a camera.
Wait, thousands of people around the world, they
die of starvation because of the enforcement of U.S. immigration laws, preventing them from escaping to where they could earn a living. I
don't doubt that.
Now, what we got going here is when citizen activists go out there and they start recording when the goons are committing these kidnappings. Okay, the goons are complaining that you shoot them with a camera. It's like, and some of them have had their pictures posted online, and they're complaining about getting shot with a camera, of all things. And the other one is that what they're worried about is getting doxxed, and then they're worried about their families.
Yes.
And this is where we can tell it like it is in support of the ICE goons message, which is, that's a very important point. Let's spread the message. Don't go after the ICE goons' family members because they don't deserve it.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I agree with you on that. I wouldn't have really taken or expected that take from you, Tom. But I agree that people, like cops, families shouldn't be targeted. That idea really scares me. Like, whenever people start saying, like, well, these cops need to start getting murdered, it really worries me, period. But it also really worries me when they talk about killing their children.
And when you say, of course, that the innocent family members don't deserve it, then the ICE goons will get infuriated because you're saying that only the family members don't deserve it. But you're agreeing with the agents. Well, because the family members don't deserve it. So, definitely don't harm the ICE goons' family members, ladies and gentlemen, because they don't deserve it.
But, Tom, I like the point that you're making that they are getting really freaked out about having their picture taken because they don't want to be doxxed and people know who they are. Because I saw some news, maybe you called in about it, but the morale at ICE is way down. And that was another success from COVID, or during COVID, the Black Lives Matter movement stuff. That was one success from that stuff was people stopped wanting to be cops. People weren't applying to be cops.
And now they're all scrambling to get more cops.
It's awesome.
Let me tell you, I'm responding actually to an interview where Lara Trump was interviewing 3 ICE goons, handpicked, I'm sure, but and they're going out there saying, "Oh, look, we're human." Well, yeah, technically they're human, but and we got to speak the truth there. I mean, they are technically Homo sapiens, the same as orthodox libertarian extremists are. But kind of like as Tina Turner might say, it's you don't think of them as human, but then in her song "Private Dancer."
Okay.
But you get these ICE agents. You got to look up the whole. I couldn't find the whole interview on YouTube, but I found the clip where one of them saying, "Look, talk to us." I mean, one of the ways that they're saying is to open dialogue, and they appreciate feedback from MAGA maggots who support the mission of immigration and customs enforcement. So, I said, talk to us, okay, and I changed the homepage on my personal website. I put that clip on there, and I went on to talk to them about, Hitler did mass deportations too, and it
was kind of a one-way mass deportation. I have no problem. I really do believe that we would not have this problem. We have immigration laws. If all immigrants would just follow those laws, and there's a clear-cut path to becoming a U.S. citizen, and they don't do it.
All you have to do is marry a U.S. citizen.
Well, no, that's not the only way. Let's say you're single, and you want to come to this country, and you're a poor farmer in Colombia, and you want to come to the U.S. So just, work your penny-a-day wage until you amass between $300,000 and $900,000 to pay for this completely clear path to citizenship.
How clear is it?
Oh, it's pretty clear. You're going to run into a couple, but if you're missing the point, Bonnie. If you have, that $300,000 to $900,000 already, it makes it a lot simpler. You'll get it done in about 10 years.
Wow.
See, the reason these people want to move to the United States is because they're so poor in those other countries, because the politicians and bureaucrats in those other countries, on average, are more corrupt than the ones in the United States. And
you're making excuses. No, we have the most. This is America, damn it. We have the most corrupt politicians in the world. Hands down. We're number one.
Well, that's on the large scale. Like, let's start a war in Iraq just so Vice President Cheney's friends at Halliburton could make money off the oil. But you got low scale. The cop pulls you over and demands a bribe in some countries and robs people. Stuff like. There's
but they don't.
Retail corruption.
They don't say thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. You just pay the guy $20, $100, and you go. You just deal with it.
That's retail corruption impoverishes people, and it's overt corruption, just like in the United States, from A to Z, agricultural subsidies to zoning variances. You've got bureaucrats picking winners and losers right out in the open, and it might not be even bribery. It's just, oh, vote for me and I'll keep the poor people out of your town so they won't be going to school with your children.
Yes.
Open corruption where, and it's impoverishing people in the United States, but it's much worse in other countries, and that's why they're so poor. But they see, the politicians don't want us to realize that, because then we'll say, hey, let's cut down on the corruption here. Let's pass a state law that says no city or town shall make or enforce any zoning restrictions, period. And immediately you'll have plenty of jobs in demolition and construction. The other thing they don't want to see happen is where people arrive at the port of entry and, okay, we'll take a fingerprint check to see if you're wanted on any outstanding warrants, and then we'll take your picture and issue you a work permit, which has your name on it, it's got your picture on it, and a Social Security card, but we're not going to give you anything else. So that means you have to work for a living. If they can do it, that proves that the local welfare broodmare can do it too. And so why don't they just shut down the welfare office? Because look at all these immigrants who are coming in and thriving without welfare. And
but those new immigrants probably couldn't vote, and we would not want to disturb our supplemental base.
That's what they're doing. And also the bureaucracy that regulates child care, this oppressive bureaucracy that makes you jump through hoops. I mean, you have to have a college degree to be a babysitter. This is like totally crazy. Then this put the burden on the access to child care to the point where somebody can't accept a job like on the overnight shift where they could put their children in child care and then go to work. Oh, no, it's only open from 6:30 in the morning to 6 o'clock p.m. You can't...
Regulated.
It's over-regulated child care. I mean, plenty of people go out to the town meeting and they hire a 16-year-old kid to be the babysitter, and they go out to they talk at the town meeting, and then they go back there. I mean, if a 16-year-old kid can babysit on the town meeting, why can't they, on town meeting night, why can't they work in a child care center, especially if they're thinking of ever having children? They need to know stuff about taking care of children. And I say a grandmother who raised 9 children has enough experience that they don't need a college degree on how to take care of children.
Yeah. The regulation is a huge thing, but another thing is all the right-wingers that like to point out, and I agree with them on this, that immigration would be less bad if we just shut down all welfare affairs. Wait, I mean right-wing libertarians, because an average right-winger wouldn't say that, but a right-wing libertarian...
They say that too.
And they'll say, let's shut down all welfare and then we can let more immigrants in. Well, why are we just ignoring the fact that there are normal Americans doing the same thing you're complaining about? Let's just shut it down, period. I hate welfare.
Yes.
I hate the idea of sustaining somebody's life who is doing absolutely nothing to take care of himself unless they absolutely can't. And it's a genuine problem. I also think it shouldn't be self-imposed where they're taking drugs every single day and I can't take care of myself. Like, that sounds like a personal
problem, sort of.
But there has to be plenty of entry-level jobs available, and that's not going to happen when you have zoning restrictions saying, oh, no, you can't open a factory over there. The neighbors don't want it in, quote, their, unquote, neighborhood. And the truth is, of course, they own their yard, and they don't want traffic on, quote, their, unquote, street, when the fact is it's a public way. Oh, the poor babies, you know what's going to happen? Their children are going to have, when they inherit the house, they're only going to get $2 million instead of $3 million. Oh, no. And
I think the problem is there's too many problems. And I can look at each one of these problems and say there is a more libertarian way to solve this one problem. And we have a populace that doesn't understand that there are alternatives to what's been done over the last 100 years. And that's just the only way you can do it. If you have a problem, you throw more money at it, and you have to look to either Republicans or Democrats to come up with your solution, because whoever won an election is a libertarian. It has to be a change in mindset of regular people to understand that, look, you've got to pick door number 3 at some point. You've got to come up with new ideas, because none of this is working. You got to look at it like a chessboard, because it's not just, but if I do this, I'll lose my queen. Yeah, but then my next move, I can checkmate, or I can work on a checkmate down the line. It's you've got to look at like a chessboard, because there are so many. You fix one problem, but then you have this other problem that comes up. How are people supposed to go to work when they don't have any place to leave their kids? Well, then you're going to have to deregulate childcare so that anybody can open a daycare center. And you have to look over your options for daycare centers.
Look over and see if they are maybe complying with some kind of agency you agree with that goes in and checks on them, and they agree to be checked in on by that agency, and then they get the check mark being approved by that agency you trust. It doesn't have to be like a license or just some state that is absolutely entrenched and doesn't actually care or pay attention. And then a kid died in a hot car, a 3-year-old kid died in a hot car this weekend or a few days ago, by a social worker who had just taken him from his parents, leaving him in the hot car for 5 hours, saying that they took him from his parents, saying that the parents were unfit to care for him. So messed up.
That is horrible.
Yes. Free Talk Live, more coming up. Call in like you heard the other callers in this segment and bring up whatever is on your mind. Do you think we're right or wrong about things? Doesn't matter. You can tell us that we're wrong, and we can have a conversation about it. That's what Free Talk Live is all about. 603-283-6160. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live. More coming up.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. More than 100,000 people have fled the bloodiest border fighting between Thailand and Cambodia in a decade. FSN's Laura Westbrook reports.
The Thai Interior Ministry said more than 100,000 people from 4 border provinces had been moved to nearly 300 temporary shelters. Fighting on Thursday was focused on 6 locations, according to the Thai army. Ground troops, backed up by tanks, battled for control of territory, while Cambodia fired rockets and shells into Thailand, and the Thais scrambled F-16 jets to hit military targets across the border. Both sides blamed each other for firing first. The fighting marks a dramatic escalation in a long-running dispute between the neighbours over their shared 800-kilometre frontier. Dozens of kilometres in several areas are contested, and fighting broke out between 2008 and 2011. A UN court ruling in 2013 settled the matter for over a decade, but the current crisis erupted in May when a Cambodian soldier was killed in a clash. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
France's president said that he will formally recognize the state of Palestine in September, making it the first G7 country to do so. FSN's Ross Cullen reports.
This is a major decision by the French leader, though not a departure from France's long-standing position of recognising a two-state solution. His move has been hailed by the French left and condemned by the right, and Emmanuel Macron will be holding a call with the British Prime Minister and the German Chancellor on Friday to discuss the situation in Gaza and what the World Health Organization says is man-made mass starvation. Ross Cullen, Paris.
The singer Ozzy Osbourne died at the age of 76. The British musician was known as one of the founding fathers of heavy metal and became a global megastar as the frontman of Black Sabbath. His style and music inspired generations of musicians to come, but as well as his music, he was also known for his wild lifestyle, as FSN's John Beaver reports.
His battles with drink and drugs was well known, and those dependency issues led to what many people said was a Jekyll and Hyde situation, where when he was fighting his addiction demons, he became a very difficult man to be around. He credited his wife Sharon with helping save his life and keep him alive for many decades and really turn his life around. And of course, it was alongside her and their children when he became hugely famous all over again, when their pioneering reality TV show, The Osbournes, made it on air in the early 2000s. That really brought him a whole new generation of fans.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. Columbia University agreed to pay more than $200 million to the Trump administration in exchange for the restoration of the majority of its funding. This is after the government withdrew $400 million of funding from the Ivy League institution, claiming it failed to curb anti-Semitism among students protesting Israel's war in Gaza. FSN's U.S. correspondent Jagruti Dave reports.
On top of the $200 million paid over 3 years, Columbia will also pay $21 million to end federal investigations into alleged anti-Semitism on campus. In a statement, acting university president Claire Shipman said this agreement marks an important step forward after a period of sustained federal scrutiny and institutional uncertainty. The Trump administration has targeted other colleges with cuts, a move widely seen in academic circles as an attempt to limit educational freedoms. Harvard University, the nation's oldest and richest, has responded by taking the government to court.
A Soviet-made airplane carrying 43 passengers and 6 crew members crashed in Russia's Far East Amur region bordering China. FSN's Dasha Bondarchuk reports from Moscow.
All 43 passengers, including 5 children as well as 6 crew members, were reportedly killed in the An-24 plane crash, according to preliminary data from local rescue services. The jet was en route between the cities of Khabarovsk, Blagoveshchensk and Tendam in the Amur region. Approaching the final point of destination, the plane failed to land at first try and went around for a second attempt and soon disappeared from the radars. A crew error or a possible technical malfunction of the jet are considered as probable causes of the plane crash. Rescue operation is underway but is complicated because the debris is scattered across a densely wooded area.
Those were some of the week's top stories. Ira Spitzer reports.
This is the Onion Week in Review. Poets across the nation issued a statement Thursday announcing that shadows, inky sharp as the raven's beak, meet the clouds like dusty charcoal on an ashen brow. Citing the ageless gloom of morning and a weary sun, its astroluminescence wrapped in arid gauze, the report noted that doubt lingers in the frail minutes of a young dawn.
For what is the sound of hope? For what is life's moment of fulfillment? The supple lie of spring prolongs the inquisition. Father! Father! Do you not sense the dread of autumn's looming song danced in trembling half-step? 1, 2, 1, 2.
The poets later added, womb, womb, womb. And in local news, a sad sack is bullied by an area goose. In other news, a photographer specializes in those pictures where lights going by really fast look like lines. An entree is apparently the kind you squeeze lime over, and employees finally get that break room bathtub they wanted.
This is the Onion News Network.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 to get in on the conversation with us. And I'd like to thank Dan for being an amplifier with us here at Free Talk Live. That means that Dan went to amps.freetalklive.com and signed up to support the show. AMPS stands for Advertise, Market, Promote, and Support. Thanks to Dan and everyone who supports us. Again, that's amps.freetalklive.com if you'd like to check out the perks and benefits of becoming an amplifier. I think I know which Dan, and we love that Dan.
Do you?
Did you say, you said nice? I think I do.
Well, okay. I'm not sure who Dan is, but...
Okay.
I
You said
always...
nice, because you just are appreciative of anyone who's an amplifier
Anyone
with us.
who is an amplifier.
Nice.
It's great.
I love that, Dan, if I am thinking of the right one. Because we only have it as first names now. I think that's just the way I printed out the list.
It works.
Yeah, works just as well as like the whole name. And most people have like usernames on there that are not even pronounceable, which is great. You don't have to put your real name out there. And at least now we're not like, I don't know, doxing someone as an amplifier.
Right.
With the last name.
Thanks, Dan, at 455 South Main Street.
That's funny. Well, with you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Chris.
And we do already have a caller on the line. And this is going to be a quick answer because they basically just got done with the phone ringing. So, unscreened caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Dan. At 4:55.
Uh-oh, they're just listening. You got to turn your radio off.
Hello.
Well, with you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Chris.
It sounds like they're... Maybe they will realize in a few seconds when that plays to them answering that... Are you there, caller?
You're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
No, I think they're just gone.
Uh-oh. Yeah, a little weird. Usually I'd like to do like...
Give them a second chance. I get that.
Yep.
One more. What the heck?
I think I'm just going to drop it because that way they'll be like, something's going on. Maybe they were trying to talk to me and not just listen on a delayed... Yeah, it's a little weird. That was quite loud, too. It's like, how'd they have that playing where it came through all the way on the radio? Sometimes they like to play or it's mostly Skeeter, likes to play like an older statement by usually Richie Rich back to himself as like an opening to his call. And he's like, what do you have to say about yourself for saying that?
Clever, isn't he?
So that's what I thought what was happening at first.
Yeah, I was on with Richie Rich one time, and Skeeter called in, and I was like, man, this guy really doesn't like you, Richie.
Yeah. There are lots of callers that really don't like him.
Yeah,
and are super mean
that's
to him.
crazy. Who else? Dave from New Mexico. I was
were
like,
you on? Yeah.
Wow. I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah, that was surprised me.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But it doesn't matter if you like or dislike one of the hosts, unless you just don't want to talk to them, which I'm pretty sure David from New Mexico just stopped calling because on days that Richie Rich is on.
Yeah.
Totally free to do that. But if you are interested in talking to Chris and I tonight, 603-283-6160. At the very beginning of the show, we started talking about California secession and how, Chris, you were describing how you have a Google search alarm. Is that what they call it? An alert?
I just did a Google search. I get notified when stories pop up that have the word secession in it.
News alert, maybe is the better word.
Yeah.
For secession, and you said that a lot of the times whenever they come up, they're just basically saying why secession is not possible. Texas versus white.
And they do this over and over, and I'm looking back through most of my articles, and it's a lot of people saying that. But if you read these stories kind of as they come up over the last month or two, you'll see that the tone changes. And I think that's the news, that the conversation is being had in California. The tone is changing. There are people who are kind of okay with it. That number continues to climb, and I think that's a great thing. I am no fan of the state of California. It has always been the butt of every joke on Free Talk Live.
Or New York, they're like the same.
Yeah, if we need an example of bad government, you can always go to California and find an example of why this idea is stupid.
If you want to live with the homeless vagrants and have to avoid poop in the street and not be allowed to add a room to your own house.
Yeah, and they are too easy fodder for Free Talk Live to spend much time on. But it's interesting to see this shift, and I think as more people grow upset, and a few years ago the big catchphrase was, maybe we just need a national divorce, where people from blue states move to other. If you're a Democrat and you're in a red state, maybe you just need to move.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's good. That was kind of the starting point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when the idea of secession now pops up with daily headlines about what Trump's done in California, which we had there for 2 or 3 weeks, bringing in the troops and uninvited. That's what he really did.
Yeah, completely against the wishes of
the governor,
Newsom.
Yeah. And I don't like Newsom. I spent a decade, working in California. All my staff was in California. I'll say most of my staff. I was on the East Coast. But I was flying out there all the time, and I cannot even begin to enumerate the number of things that state does to piss me off. I can't even start.
They do it right when you drive in. When you're driving, they'll stop you and be like, "Do you have any plants of this species in your car?" And I don't mean like marijuana.
No, just
like some invasive species.
Yeah.
It's like you're really stopping people out of their day for that.
As I work for a large company, and one of the toughest things I had to deal with was because we did business in 26 different states, all 26 states were deemed having to follow California's rules.
Wow.
So stuff like, whether somebody is a hourly worker or whether they're salaried, California has a whole lot of rules and regulations around that. You tend to put people on salary so you can work them harder when they get to a certain level. But, they were like, no, it doesn't matter if this guy is, he's got a PhD, but you still need to pay him hourly if you ever ask him to work more than 40 hours a week.
Wow.
It's like, no, that's craziness. But that was just one of many, many, many things that we had to do. And sadly, California is sort of a bellwether state. Things happen. California dreams it up. They implement it. And then other states begin to look at California as an example of, boy, we should be doing that too.
Because they just see him as like most progressive, and like
Right.
the soccer moms in Arizona or somewhere else nearby, maybe more of a leftist place than Arizona, will say to themselves like, we're so behind. California does that.
Right. And that's how other states do look at it. And, you know, and particularly in technology where I spent my career, I mean, people would look at this stuff and go, you know, we got to be more like Silicon Valley and we need to be more like California. It's like, no, you need to take the good things about California. You do need to take that culture, but you got to leave all that other crap behind.
And I just really hate that it is California that's the state with like the one of the worst governments, because California and New York, so beautiful naturally.
Yeah.
And the people, like, generally, like, I know I just mentioned all the vagrants because that's what the government attracts. But the people generally are, like, nice and laid back and actually, like, more attractive in California.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
California girls. There's something behind that.
Yeah. Disney World? No, Disneyland.
Disneyland.
There's plenty of good stuff about it.
There is.
Crazy mountains, giant trees.
But you get the same result of big cities, and that is tend to be more Democrats and fewer Libertarians and Republicans. You know, California, the vast majority of the state, if you were to look at the land, you look at the county count, is pretty dang red. I mean, there are Republicans and Libertarians in California, but they will never get anything passed through, you know, California politics because they don't have the numbers. All the numbers are in San Francisco and LA and San Diego.
Yep.
That's just reality. So I feel for that in that way. It's very much like in New York, where the city determines the politics for the whole state.
Yeah, a very small spot or part of the state is New York City.
Texas, I'm kind of holding out sort of hope. I mean, it is getting a little bluer, a little more purple. But Texas has always been such a red bastion. But even that hasn't always been. You know, it hasn't always been that way. You go back decades, and yeah, it was kind of Democrat at one point, but
when Democrats were more reasonable.
Yeah.
It's not like, in the 1940s, Texas had, you know, a trans governor or something.
No.
Yep. Californians probably did the same thing, like got less and less reasonable. Just because, like, Democrats in general have just gotten less and less reasonable to where now they're not even the party of anti-war.
They don't know what to do other than go, we're against Trump on everything. And that gives you a counter, I guess, to Republicanism. But even Republicans, I don't think Republicans as a majority are all MAGA.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I don't know.
I think MAGA is kind of a unique animal, somebody who's willing to follow this dictator guy.
I do wonder about that, though, because I currently, in my regular life, I don't know any Republicans. Before the whole thing where Trump he's calling the Epstein thing of a hoax. Before that.
Well, that's going to shake things up.
Yeah, and it already is. But before that started happening, it seemed like almost every Republican I know basically likes Trump.
I think they like the idea of not having a Biden or a Kamala.
Yeah.
And they see him as a savior. You know, we finally got rid of this disaster that was going on. And I don't argue with them that it was a disaster, but come on. You know, I just look at this going, you honestly can't pretend that you are. And I think I think the Trump delusion syndrome goes both ways.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
And they got to come to grips with that at some point. But we're still stuck with,
It's just that Trump is only very slowly revealing his real colors as far as to the Republicans. Like, he's been showing his real colors as far as, like, what he's doing that the Democrats don't like completely out in the open. That was never a thing.
Right.
But with the Republicans, he was kind of just like this mild, honestly, president in 2016 to 2020.
Yeah.
He didn't do a whole bunch. He didn't even build the wall. And then there was 4 years without him. And so people are wondering, like, did he get radicalized a lot more? Because, he's mad because they wanted to arrest him and all this stuff. And, crazier and crazier things, girls and the boys, soccer teams, and then whatever, all this stuff that, opposite, whatever.
Yeah.
But, just like things have gotten crazier. Did he get more radical? But it seems like he was a lot of talk and he's not really, okay, with the sports stuff, he is delivering, but he's not delivering with a lot of things that the Republicans wanted him to. The Epstein thing, calling it a hoax, is a huge thing.
Yeah, I think that seems to have come out once somebody told him that, look, Donald, in the Maxwell trial stuff, your name is mentioned a lot.
Yeah,
and the idea of that in the card that he had sent to. That was too weird. It's like, they'll be great. Tomorrow will be a great day for secrets. I'm like, what? Where
really?
Did that?
I didn't. Maybe we should open up an article about that because Ian is the only one that's told me anything about it. But yeah, the Wall Street Journal reported that Trump had sent a 50th birthday card, I think it was, to Epstein.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein.
It was this card that lots and lots of politicians, including Bill Clinton and all these rich people, signed his card and included something. Mm-hmm. A picture, a happy birthday. But yeah, what Trump sent, we'll pull it up. It was kind of weird.
It was supposed to be body. I'm not sure how you say that word.
Body.
It was the first time I saw that word ever was in that article. They said that Trump sent a body birthday message to Jeffrey Epstein, and it was in the past, obviously, like when he was alive, I think his 50th birthday.
Yeah, 50th.
And that word, if you aren't familiar, means like it's a type of humor that is sexual. So like a sexually charged, funny drawing. And I think it's supposed to be, they didn't show the drawing. I couldn't find it anywhere, so I'm pretty sure they're holding that up their sleeve. But Trump sued them the same day.
You have to have a subscription to the Wall Street Journal.
No, I have one.
Yeah, so be sure to Google that.
But I already did for Ian. He wanted to know if I could print it out and send it to him, if so, because he just finished reading Never Give Up by Trump. People sent him, people sent him lots of books, but somebody sent him the two Trump books, the really famous one, The Art of the Deal, and then more recently, Never Give Up. That's a book by Trump. And he read it and he found that one really good. He said it's more like practical advice about like, getting ahead in business and like self-confidence and stuff like that. But he said there are all these little drawings in it. They're done with like a heavy marker. They're very simple. It'll be like a skyline, but it's just the outlines, stuff like that. And he said the description of the body birthday message drawing that they didn't put out, but they described it, is very much like the drawings in the book that Trump is credited with drawing.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't draw pictures. He's come out and said that.
Yeah.
I never draw pictures. Why would I even do that?
I think he said I don't write pictures at first, which is really weird. It was like the wrong verb, but yeah. So, do you want to read that? We do have a caller on the line.
Oh, go ahead and take the caller. I'll keep digging for an exact quote on this.
Unscreened caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, hi. I need to find out if you guys are really gay. Is that true?
You guys?
Yes, everyone there.
Everyone here is gay, yes.
Huh?
Everyone.
But I can make that straight.
No, I don't think so.
Is that some TV show or something?
I don't know.
Kind of wanted to give it a chance to be funny or be going somewhere.
But it just wasn't.
Yeah, it just wasn't. I was also had my hand on the dump button. Thanks for the call, caller. Maybe that was just Skeeter again. I didn't see who it was. Well, that was a disappointment. If that was a prank call, I really think you guys could do better. I don't think I've ever gotten a good prank call.
Yeah, step up your game. Come on.
Like, there's been people that called in just to say, like, the N-word or something. That's lame. That's not funny. Like, it's not a good one. It's not, like, wow, that was so thought through and a good one. I don't think any time that I've been on Free Talk Live that I've really gotten a good one. But not that people do it all the time, but I'm just saying, I would actually, give somebody their applause or whatever if they actually called in and tried to do a prank call that was effort and
right and funny and
surprising
and witty and
yeah.
Even if it makes fun of us, I don't care. But
Yeah.
at least put some effort into it, guys. Come on.
Exactly. Well, so I had one question when Tom called for you, and we didn't really get to ask, and then the break came. I wanted to ask you, when he brings up the idea, like you have a house, you actually own a house, so you have a house, and then somebody wants to build a factory right where you can see it, and it's actually, let's say for the sake of argument, it will make the value of your house go down. It's not like, oh, well, what if it makes it go up? No, let's just say we know for sure it will make the value of the house go down, and you have to see it in the distance, and more people drive on your street. What's your view on that? Because in Tom's mind, it's zoning is always 100% bad. Those people can suck it up. Like it's a public way.
Yeah, I've been on the planning board in my town for an awful lot of years, and I'm now on the zoning board of adjustment, so I'm kind of one of the guys that gets to, when people have a problem with zoning, they can go for an exception or something like that. And I'm one of the guys that votes always in the homeowner's best interest. Mm-hmm. It's just what I do. Zoning is the biggest issues with it are it just artificially creates different zones and gives you a whole bunch of laws in each different zone. Mm-hmm. So zones that are made for business can be more business friendly, and zones in residential areas can be more residential friendly. That's fine. But then you just end up with a bunch of artificial neighborhoods. And I don't think anyone who drove up and down my road, and Bonnie, you've driven by my house, mm-hmm. you would never want to build a factory up there.
Yeah.
It's on a mountain. There's no point. You wouldn't want to open businesses on that because it's naturally a rural area. It's just, there's no other real thing you would do. Mm-hmm. So we have people that want to open small businesses and stuff like that up there. Farm stands, absolutely. It's not that we're zoning to keep out big business, even though that's kind of how the zoning is oriented. It's just not a natural place for it to be. And I get that. I would be fine with absolutely no regulation at all in zoning, because I know that common sense and people's desire to profit off of their investments would keep it in order. That's the power of a free market, and we don't need a bunch of ridiculous regulations. My house would still stay a rural farming and residential area.
Well, let's say that yours does, but somebody who lives in like my neighborhood, they wouldn't necessarily get that guarantee. And the thing is, I really am on the fence about this whole thing, because it's absolutely the libertarian stance is no zoning, no laws at all.
Yeah.
And some people have just got me on the fence with these points they're making, like, oh yeah, we should make, I guess you should be fine with blah 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 crazy thing happening just as long as it's a yard outside of your property line, and we can maybe get back into it. 603-283-6160. It's free talk live. More coming up.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101. If it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid transmedia pestering, like calling to ask, "Did you get my email?" or emailing to say, "I left you a voicemail." If your emails and voicemails aren't being acknowledged, your problem isn't technology, it's technique. Is your message concise and understandable? Have you boiled it down to seem as relevant as possible to the recipient? In other words, Is it the opposite of spam or junk mail? All of this really matters if you're a job seeker. But even if you're not, with money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. More than 100,000 people have fled the bloodiest border fighting between Thailand and Cambodia in a decade. FSN's Laura Westbrook reports.
The Thai Interior Ministry said more than 100,000 people from 4 border provinces had been moved to nearly 300 temporary shelters. Fighting on Thursday was focused on 6 locations, according to the Thai army. Ground troops, backed up by tanks, battled for control of territory, while Cambodia fired rockets and shells into Thailand, and the Thais scrambled F-16 jets to hit military targets across the border. Both sides blamed each other for firing first. The fighting marks a dramatic escalation in a long-running dispute between the neighbors over their shared 800-kilometer frontier. Dozens of kilometers in several areas are contested, and fighting broke out between 2008 and 2011. A UN court ruling in 2013 settled the matter for over a decade, but the current crisis erupted in May when a Cambodian soldier was killed in a clash. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
France's president said that he will formally recognize the state of Palestine in September, making it the first G7 country to do so. FSN's Ross Cullen reports.
This is a major decision by the French leader, though not a departure from France's long-standing position of recognising a two-state solution. His move has been hailed by the French left and condemned by the right, and Emmanuel Macron will be holding a call with the British Prime Minister and the German Chancellor on Friday to discuss the situation in Gaza and what the World Health Organization says is man-made mass starvation. Ross Cullen, Paris.
The singer Ozzy Osbourne died at the age of 76. The British musician was known as one of the founding fathers of heavy metal and became a global megastar as the frontman of Black Sabbath. His style and music inspired generations of musicians to come, but as well as his music, he was also known for his wild lifestyle, as FSN's John Beaver reports.
His battles with drink and drugs was well known, and those dependency issues led to what many people said was a Jekyll and Hyde situation, where when he was fighting his addiction demons, he became a very difficult man to be around. He credited his wife Sharon with helping save his life and keep him alive for many decades and really turn his life around. And of course, it was alongside her and their children when he became hugely famous all over again, when their pioneering reality TV show, The Osbournes, made it on air in the early 2000s. That really brought him a whole new generation of fans.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, and that means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. Are you tired of the oppressive rules and moderation of the big tech social media sites? Our Mastodon server at social.freetalklive.com can set you free. Mastodon is free, open source, decentralized, and federated. Multiple apps are available for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Social.freetalklive.com. With you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Chris.
And in the last segment, we ended the segment just by me posing a question to Chris, because really, there have been libertarians debating this idea about zoning changes in New Hampshire. And my instant reaction was, of course, we want like just no zoning, like what Tom was saying.
Yeah.
It's the public road you live on is the public road. It's not yours. I completely still agree with that. The idea that the thing though that makes things a little like gray instead of black and white for me is there are things that can affect you though they're not standing on your property, and some things it's like we could actually measure that, but no one has went and figured out the exact degree to which it should be enforced. Like for example, I think there actually is like noise, like the exact decimeter. Dang it, what's the word?
Decibels of noise in a given area. Yeah.
Yeah. So if somebody can be on their own property 100%, but the noise they are giving off is too noisy and it's bothering you in your yard, that's 100% a real thing.
Sure.
It can actually like raise your cortisol. It can keep you from working. And that can actually affect you. It just seems like people have given really good examples of other things that people can do in your neighborhood that do affect you. And I guess my question is, when does that become worth you having the right to stop them, though? Because I don't believe, like when David from New Mexico had this idea, I was just playing devil's advocate with because it was like, it is an interesting question. His neighbors just had a generator that made too much noise for his liking.
Right.
And he actually said that he did things like offer to cover it for them and like that would make less noise, and they said no. So like he had no like route to go peacefully with these people and make the thing quieter to stop bothering him. But it's like, how does that give him the right to go and stop it if they just want it to be noisy? Maybe they just want it to be noisy on their property.
Yeah.
I don't think it gives him the right, even though I totally can say there's probably a measurable reaction in like David in New Mexico's body whenever he gets irritated by that noise. But
yeah.
I think
his blood pressure goes way, way up.
I think the thing that makes most people agree that he still just can't go over there and turn off the generator is like, is it reasonable for him to get so mad about it? Maybe there's that. Like a lot of people wouldn't care.
Yeah, I think in a lot of cases, I mean, people just need to work with their neighbors. And you're always going to have somebody you just can't work with, and they're never going to see it.
What if you're completely reasonable, like David from New Mexico, let's assume he absolutely was. He didn't go and be rude to them or anything like that. And he gave them every solution and every opportunity to make it better, but they just were saying no. And he was like, everything he was offering to them was like, I'm going to spend my own money on the supplies to fix it. But they just won't work with him.
So we had one case where this it was a fraternal organization like an Elks Club or something like that. In it's not Elks Club. But in my town, they built a new deck on. And they built this big, huge deck so their members could go outside when it's nice and drink beer and all that. Mm-hmm. And they built the deck like right next to this other guy's fence. And our rules in our town say you can't build closer than 10 feet from a property line. So they violated a zoning ordinance when they built this big deck. And because of that, this guy, he started finding problems with everything they did. Well, when they mow their lawn mower clippings get sprayed on my property. And when they rake their leaves, leaves end up on my property from their property. Mm-hmm. So, and, they ended up just taking it somewhere else. The selectmen can deal with that. But I just wanted to say, look, you guys are next door to each other. You got to live together. Mm-hmm. Or somebody's got to have to move, and it's going to cost them a lot of money.
Yeah.
Won't you just agree to moderation? Will you get a mediator in here? Mm. Will you have somebody else agree to decide this for you? Because neither of you are going to agree. Mm-hmm. Mediation is something that is always an option without involving the state or anything else. And I think if people have problems with their neighbors, if they can't resolve it between themselves, then I think that should be the natural path that people take in choosing mediation and not choosing to sue or to do something else that the state's involved with. You know, that would resolve so many issues, and it's just not a normal thing for people to talk about. I wish it were, but that's one thing that I think we should be talking more about. You know, agree to mediation and let a third party resolve this for you.
There was a claim that somebody made. I'm trying to make it more, keep it really vague and not like name names or anything. There's a claim that was made against somebody I know in New Hampshire, and let's say the people who wanted to bring a claim against this person tricked him into coming to a public area, and they had guns on them. They told him, hey, just want to talk to you or whatever, like hid the nature of why they wanted to see him.
Right.
Brought him to a public area and showed him this document written by a really big libertarian in New Hampshire who thought this was like, I'm helping these people seek restitution outside of the state. But the thing was, they wrote into it, like, you sign here that you agree to pay this amount of money, and then we don't go to the state. And it was textbook extortion. So, like, some people are just really bad at that.
Yeah.
Not saying that at all counters anything you're saying, because people could just be better at it, but...
Yeah, and I think if there were an actual market in mediation, the ones that were very good and honest and trustworthy would certainly put out of business anybody who wasn't. It's free market stuff, and I don't know why we don't talk about it more. And the more I hear about cases between neighbors, particularly, this just needs to be a thing. It needs to go back to that, I think.
More people need to consider moving, too. It's like people think that's just an impossibility, but, well, maybe you like your house a lot.
Yeah.
So let's go to the phones. We have a caller on the line. Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yes. This morning they had a show about pedestrian fatalities on Central Avenue. So they have a weekend show. They actually talked about it for 15 minutes of this Vision Zero, they call it. And I'm actually shocked that they want to put in more pedestrian refugees and put in more hawk lights. And they're going to have AI, the computer, to analyze the people that are walking on the side of the street, and they could recognize if they're turning to cross. And I didn't quite, like, I got to listen to their podcast or something so I could listen to it over again. I mean, they threw out like 10 different technologies. I was like, whoa, yeah, you know, they were going to extend the yellow light so you don't get the green light right away. So just kind of let everybody run the red light. So, and then they had 10 other things. I didn't catch all of it. Only thing that I knew about is the hawk light.
What is that?
Pedestrian refugees. And they were going to use AI, and I don't know if they're going to put in speeding cameras or not. So
I'm you saying hawk light? Hop light?
Yeah, it's called the hawk light. It's abbreviated for high intensity activated signal light.
Oh, okay.
And it's abbreviated into hawk light. I don't know what's the real exact spelling.
But what does it do?
So they have one of these. If you press the button, it will tell the cars to slow down. You'll get a blinking yellow light, and it'll stop the car. So you cross the intersection.
Okay.
I mean, it's not an intersection, but it has
across a road.
In the front.
Yeah, we have something similar to my store. I mean, we have lights where if someone is trying to cross the street, they can push a button and it flashes brightly, and then it flashes in such a way that all cars stop. I think that's a great solution.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, and then it turned out, somebody at the Free Talk Live, the older gentleman, I forgot his name, but he stopped on the show,
I think the oldest person that's ever been on the show is Chris Reeve.
I'm older than dirt. Come on. It had to have been me. Go ahead.
Well, you know what? I told him about all the crazy things that he used to always crack up. Like, did you know that we have Narcan in our public libraries? He was all cracked up and he couldn't believe it. Well, this is Albuquerque that they got people ODing in the public library, so that they got them available there.
Wow.
I wouldn't laugh at that.
That is
Wasn't me.
pretty crazy.
You would laugh at that?
I would not laugh at that.
I think it's kind of funny. Narcan in the libraries.
It is funny. You guys, for being in New England, they don't overdose, convulse, and die in libraries. But we have people that do that, and he was all laughing and cracked up about it. So,
was this a long time ago?
I think they started about 20 years ago or something.
Oh,
and
Mark?
It could have been. But either way, I love Narcan. I value the life of humans, and if you can save a life, that's fine. Now, don't make me pay for it.
I think it's funny that it's such a frequently needed thing that's in the library.
Right, that is pretty funny. I get it.
Just tickle Sarah.
You guys live in New England, so you guys don't have people dying in the public library?
No.
No, I don't think so. We do have our share of druggies.
Yeah, but it was funny, but he looked at that. So it was like an engineer, like a road engineer. His wife thought about it overnight. It was her that came out with the idea and told her husband. So then it got credibility because a road engineer, and then he was talking about it, but it was actually a woman's idea that had no degree.
Well, women get it right every once in a while. Just
it was
kidding.
her idea, and the people listened because her husband talked about it, not her. You know what I mean? So the Hawk light became because of his wife thought about it, where you press the light and it starts the yellow light blinket, slows them down, and when it's red, you have to stop.
You know what's weird that I noticed the other day? I have seen it before, but wasn't sure. But since I've seen it before, I was like, I really think this is happening. Not sure if they're the same thing, the Hawk light that we have in Keene, but it's like at crosswalks, not just any old place on the road, but at crosswalks when people are trying to cross in this particular area of Main Street in Keene, they have these lights that go off when people are crossing at this, and I'm not sure if it's automatic or they press a button, but what I noticed was that when a emergency vehicle or like a fire truck is driving, they turn on.
Oh, do they?
And they were like all on simultaneously, so I really think that there's some kind of like mechanism where they turn themselves on.
They do have a sensor that allows emergency vehicles to make red lights green and all kinds of stuff. That's a real thing.
I think that was going on.
I will not say that I have researched those technologies and researched ways to activate them myself, because that would be illegal.
Well, listen to this idea that I thought of when it was going on. I was like, what if some pedestrian is deaf, but they see the lights go on and they're like, oh, everybody's going to stop for me. I don't know. Maybe it will never happen. But
right.
It seemed like a little like, I get the idea that it like gives people like, hey, something's going on ahead, and then you look up and then you slow down, but shouldn't we already know that because of the loud noise coming from the fire truck? But
yeah, you slam on your brakes and get rear-ended by a fire truck.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Now you have 2 incidents to deal with.
Yeah, that would be really bad if we got hit by a fire truck. It's a huge truck.
I like around Keene State, there's a couple of these lights, and I think it's not a bad idea. Again, I don't want to pay for it. Don't raise my taxes. Get people to volunteer to put up the money for them and pay the electric bill.
The thing is that I just want to say about these Hawk lights is that when you cross, it stops all the traffic eastbound, westbound, and I only want like one part of the Hawk light at a time. So you just cross the one that's going northbound, just cross that part of the street, and then have another crosswalk just from the middle of the street to the southbound.
So,
I think that would work better.
It would keep pedestrian traffic moving, I guess. I've
No,
got
but
to.
it'll keep the cars moving. Like the whole cars don't have to stop east and westbound.
Yes, I understand what you're
Right now,
saying.
the hawk light, when you press it, it stops all 4 lanes, 2 lanes going this way, the other way.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not efficient the way they're doing it now. That's what you're saying?
Right. Because all they need is just stop one side of the street, get to the middle, and we could wait until you clear when they get like some kind of a clearance when the traffic slows down, and then cross the other street instead of stopping both traffics. I mean, as a pedestrian, as long as I could cross the street sometime, I'll be fine. I don't mind waiting another 3 minutes at the middle to wait for the other side.
I don't really get that, because then why wouldn't you wait from the whole time for a hole in the traffic? Like, I'm not saying you should necessarily. Like in the area Chris and I are talking about on Main Street near Keene State College, where there are these blinking lights, it is like, wow, you're going to be waiting a really long time for there to just naturally be a break in the cars a lot of the day.
Yeah.
So I understand I just don't understand why Sarah's saying, well, the right side of the road, I need the light. The left side, I don't. It's a little weird.
If this were a really busy street and you're blocking, like she said, 2 lanes going one way, 2 lanes going the other way, and as soon as anybody begins to cross, it stops both lanes. As she's saying, if you could segment it into 2 different sections, that would be a more efficient way to do it, to keep traffic moving. I kind of understand where she's going, but Sarah's going to say that we need to have more spending.
Yeah, the government needs to give this to her. Right.
And, well, no, I don't know if she even means for her. She's actually thinking about keeping vehicle traffic moving. But again, it's
the same. You guys have the same thought as the Trump spending cuts to make it efficient, cut all the funding.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what good does it really do? What have you noticed? All the funding has benefited you in any kind of a way?
Sarah, all that speaks to is the fact that the United States government is so huge that even if they cut down on like millions of dollars of spending, it doesn't show up in our daily lives because their spending is so ridiculously huge beyond what you can fathom, literally, because humans can't fathom trillions of dollars.
Yeah, so my whole thing is you're complaining about you want to spend tax dollars on this hawk light to save lives and make it better, but that's better. Save it for what? So that all the billionaires could get more tax cuts and more money gets sucked to the top.
Just quit taxing me. That's all I want.
I mean,
that's all I want for you.
Yeah.
Quit taxing Sarah. Really, quit taxing everyone. Get it down to what's in the Constitution at the most, and just stop taking other people's money and doing what you want with it. That's where I'm at.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. They're always beating up on the rail run, right? Like I was telling you. When I rode it the last time, I had about 60 people getting on in Santa Fe, and when I got off at my stop, I had about 35 kids and another 70 adults coming off the train. But they always attack that it's bankrupting us. Rail runner is like wiping our state out. It's draining. But people really need something and it helps people. They always attack it like it's a waste of money. But, we got all those bombs and B-52 bombers. They launched those rockets out into outer space, astronaut. I don't know why. I don't know what purpose that it serves.
The Katy Perry thing, the thing with Katy Perry, it wasn't like the government spending, it was a business.
Yeah.
A heavily subsidized business.
Really?
Oh, sure.
It wasn't Tesla.
No, it wasn't. Tesla's ridiculously, they get about $5 billion a year.
Wow.
But I guarantee you Blue Origin is getting government contracts, and
I guess
they're getting subsidized too, yeah. But no, I agree with you. I mean, but how about this, Sarah? How about if suddenly no one in New Mexico was taxed $1 on anything? They just suddenly I waved my magic wand and nobody had to pay any taxes at all. Do you think wealthy people? Do you think businesses would choose to fund things like hawk lights for the town of Albuquerque because it was a good PR move and it would look good? I have no doubt they would. Somebody would want hawk light provided by Bob's Plumbing, or something like that. I don't buy the fact that good things can only happen if government takes money and decides to spend it. That's just a complete false idea.
I mean, I disagree with you because these greedy corporation people, they're not as nice as you make them out to be.
There's some of them out there that are horrible. But do you believe that every company is greedy and that's all they're driven by? That every one of them is evil and greedy. Do you believe that?
I do not know about every one of them, but the fact that we have this welfare that you guys are always beating up, this communist state where the government takes care of people, it was necessary because the wealthy people could care less about the poor people starving to death, freezing to death, or dying of illness.
That's so rude that you'd say that when the rich people pay so much in taxes and they believe it's going to the poor people. The rich people are the people who give the most to charity. You're just going to say all rich people could give less or couldn't care less about poor people. That's pretty ridiculous.
Well, I heard something different. I thought it was more poor people give more to charity, and I believe that's true.
Nope.
Because I'm not so wealthy, but I always give charity to Salvation Army and all that help. A wealthy person don't know what it feels like to be homeless or starving or panhandling or going through any kind of hard times. I think that's why our state is so kind to the homeless, because this is a poor state. A lot of families have living in cars and lost their jobs, got laid off, got fired, ran out of money, couldn't pay their bills, and so it's in the culture.
New Mexico's the second worst state at giving to charities.
Is it?
And it's, mostly poor people that are mostly left wing. The best state for giving to charities is Utah, mostly well-off people who are mostly right wing. Yeah. I'm trying to find an actual answer to the question, or, see who gives the most to charities, but that wasn't popping up really quickly. More about this or, whatever you want to talk about, because you can call 603-283-6160. Free Talk Live. I like the question she posed to us. Have we actually seen anything changing in our life with Trump doing cuts to the government? I haven't, but there's too much spending to cut. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere.
Free Talk Live.
I wouldn't snitch them out. I would report them to the police.
Right.
Okay, now
call it what you want.
Now, many states have laws about carrying firearms, even though their constitutions say that it's legal for everyone to own a firearm.
Like New York State.
There's no way to ban it. Would you snitch out somebody that you knew had a firearm?
If they had it illegally, I wouldn't snitch them out. I would report them.
Right.
I got to say, you're a bad American, Ken.
Yeah, I think you're a scumbag, Ken.
You're a communist.
I'm a communist because I want people to be able to carry guns like the Second Amendment says.
He'd snitch on the person, and then the cops would come and infringe it for him.
Felons out there carrying guns at will?
I'm a convicted felon. Do you think I shouldn't be able to protect my wife from an intruder?
I don't think you should have a gun.
How am I going to protect myself if the guy has a gun?
There are many other ways to protect yourself than not having a gun.
You should call the cops, Mark, like any good citizen.
That way the cops can come clean up my corpse after it's all over, right?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern at freetalklive.com.
Protection.
Eleutheromania, the insatiable desire for freedom.
Filibuster. Police state.
It's the new 3-song heavy metal EP from Captain Kickass. Available now on your favorite music app or get it directly from CaptainKickass.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. More than 100,000 people have fled the bloodiest border fighting between Thailand and Cambodia in a decade. FSN's Laura Westbrook reports.
The Thai Interior Ministry said more than 100,000 people from 4 border provinces had been moved to nearly 300 temporary shelters. Fighting on Thursday was focused on 6 locations, according to the Thai army. Ground troops, backed up by tanks, battled for control of territory, while Cambodia fired rockets and shells into Thailand, and the Thais scrambled F-16 jets to hit military targets across the border. Both sides blamed each other for firing first. The fighting marks a dramatic escalation in a long-running dispute between the neighbors over their shared 800-kilometer frontier. Dozens of kilometers in several areas are contested, and fighting broke out between 2008 and 2011. A UN court ruling in 2013 settled the matter for over a decade, but the current crisis erupted in May when a Cambodian soldier was killed in a clash. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
France's president said that he will formally recognize the state of Palestine in September, making it the first G7 country to do so. FSN's Ross Cullen reports.
This is a major decision by the French leader, though not a departure from France's long-standing position of recognising a two-state solution. His move has been hailed by the French left and condemned by the right, and Emmanuel Macron will be holding a call with the British Prime Minister and the German Chancellor on Friday to discuss the situation in Gaza and what the World Health Organization says is man-made mass starvation. Ross Cullen, Paris.
The singer Ozzy Osbourne died at the age of 76. The British musician was known as one of the founding fathers of heavy metal and became a global megastar as the frontman of Black Sabbath. His style and music inspired generations of musicians to come, but as well as his music, he was also known for his wild lifestyle, as FSN's John Beaver reports.
His battles with drink and drugs was well known, and those dependency issues led to what many people said was a Jekyll and Hyde situation, where when he was fighting his addiction demons, he became a very difficult man to be around. He credited his wife Sharon with helping save his life and keep him alive for many decades and really turn his life around. And of course, it was alongside her and their children when he became hugely famous all over again, when their pioneering reality TV show, The Osbournes, made it on air in the early 2000s. That really brought him a whole new generation of fans.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN. Columbia University agreed to pay more than $200 million to the Trump administration in exchange for the restoration of the majority of its funding. This is after the government withdrew $400 million of funding from the Ivy League institution, claiming it failed to curb anti-Semitism among students protesting Israel's war in Gaza. FSN's U.S. correspondent Jagruti Dave reports.
On top of the $200 million paid over 3 years, Columbia will also pay $21 million to end federal investigations into alleged anti-Semitism on campus. In a statement, acting university president Claire Shipman said this agreement marks an important step forward after a period of sustained federal scrutiny and institutional uncertainty. The Trump administration has targeted other colleges with cuts, a move widely seen in academic circles as an attempt to limit educational freedoms. Harvard University, the nation's oldest and richest, has responded by taking the government to court.
A Soviet-made airplane carrying 43 passengers and 6 crew members crashed in Russia's Far East Amur region bordering China. FSN's Dasha Bondarchuk reports from Moscow.
All 43 passengers, including 5 children as well as 6 crew members, were reportedly killed in the N-24 plane crash, according to preliminary data from local rescue services. The jet was en route between the cities of Khabarovsk, Blagoveshchensk and Tindam in the Amur region. Approaching the final point of destination, the plane failed to land at first try and went around for a second attempt and soon disappeared from the radars. A crew error or a possible technical malfunction of the jet are considered as probable causes of the plane crash. Rescue operation is underway but is complicated because the debris is scattered across a densely wooded area.
Those were some of the week's top stories. Ira Spitzer reports.
For years, Southwest Airlines has boasted having the most loyal customers in the industry. Now the low-cost carrier is calling on its most frequent customers to finally do something in return for the airline. The company rolled out their new Loyalty Goes Both Ways program in a new ad campaign.
You said you wanted free checked bags, and we listened. Now you listen to us.
Southwest's program is part of a new trend of companies not letting their customers exploit them anymore. CEO Gary C. Kelly has gone as far as to record this radio ad, which Southwest started airing nationwide.
Hi, this is Southwest CEO Gary Kelly. If my wife calls asking about me, I need you to lie and say I was with you. Remember all those low fares I gave you.
To any Southwest customers thinking about saying they're too busy to help, Kelly has some harsh words saying, quote, "We're always there for our customers. To anyone who can't do us a solid now and then, f*** you. That's not loyalty, that's freeloading."
This is the Onion News Network.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160 to bring up whatever is on your mind in this last hour of the show. In the last few hours, we have had several callers, and we appreciate all of them, and it's nice to change up the conversation and not just be feeling like we're kind of just talking to ourselves. I enjoy when we get calls. In the last segment, we talked to Sarah from New Mexico. She is famously, or at least in Free Talk Live circles, famously a communist and a welfare receiver. And with you on Free Talk Live, you've got me, Bonnie. And Chris. Sorry, I muted him.
And Chris.
And so Sarah, she's a welfare receiver, and she'll tell you, I moved to New Mexico because I looked up and found that New Mexico gives the most stuff to their welfare recipients.
Right.
She's not a dummy.
And she's where I've butted heads with Sarah over the last decade, it seems, is just, it doesn't have to be the state helping people. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about how I got health care and how poor people in my town did with me growing up back in the 20s and 30s. Not quite that long ago, but the fact was, like...
Are you happy that I laughed and wasn't just like, yeah. Continue.
I believe you. I'm looking at you. Yes, I believe you are that old. No, I mean, we had families in my very small town that were impoverished. I mean, did not have money. They would steal heating oil every winter just to stay warm.
Wow.
Their parents didn't live with them. But these kids went to school, and they had to get things like,
There were kids that lived alone?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. They had to get things like physicals to go to school because government rule says you have to have a physical. Mm-hmm. Well, the doctor in my county, we only had one doctor, the doctor did those pro bono. I mean, it was just one of those things that, yes, he did those things for poor people. Mm-hmm. And historically, this had been going on for most of the history of our country. When people needed help, their neighbors helped them. Mm-hmm. All that's kind of stopped really being a thing with President Johnson's Great Society plans, and that's where we kind of went off the rails. I tried to bring this stuff up with Sarah, but she doesn't want to understand anything about history. So,
Well, she will tell you that she read all about communism, and everything that we hear about communism is actually propaganda. Like, there was this story I told her that I had heard recently from someone that back when Russia was... I'm going to get some details wrong because it was a long time ago talking to Sarah. I had just heard somebody talking about back when Russia was communism, or communist, how somebody went... it was actually Cuba, and Cuba's still communist, but when it was, like, really, really bad, the worst, somebody went there to, maybe it was a charitable thing, or maybe it was just a visit, I don't know, and they saw that, like, the children didn't have shoes, and that was one specific part of it that woman that went there brought up. And when I told it to Sarah, she was like, I heard that is all propaganda. Like, you can't tell Sarah something and then because she actually went to these meetings where they told her about communism and they gave her all these answers. It's almost like Christian apologetics. Yeah. It's like, if you're like, well, I heard that this was disproven, like Jesus never said that, or you give them any kind of thing. Even like, for a great example with the Mormons, they have this story that, in my opinion, nobody should believe in Mormonism because of it, where when he was saying that he was using his stone, he being Joseph Smith, was using his stone to look through it and read these gold tablets that no one else could see, and he got this guy who could write. He was like, I'm going to let you write it down, I'll dictate it to you what the stone tablet is saying to me.
Seems legit.
Well, his wife was smart in that night. Her husband's telling her all this stuff, and she took the papers and said, if this is all true, then Joseph Smith will be able to recreate it. Surely, like, you guys can just restart, and I'm gonna sit there and read it. And Joseph was like, well, the thing is, the tablets never say the same thing twice. It's just how the word of God works.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? So,
Sure.
I tell you that story, and I tell a Mormon that story, and this has really happened in my real life. And they automatically have apologetics for it, where they're like, actually, that was fake and propaganda. And it's like, well, you can't even have a real conversation with these people.
Yeah.
Or they have other apologetics for different stories that they want to make more sense to themselves.
And I think that's one of the interesting things about growing older is you do remember this stuff. I'm not making that story up about kids getting health care for no cost. Mm-hmm. That happened. It really did. And the fact that when my mom had to go to the doctor or the dentist, it was stop by the store to get the checkbook from my father so she could write a check for our health care. We were middle class at best, but there was no insurance for something like that. You wouldn't.
And it probably wasn't crazy expensive at the time.
Right. And you wouldn't even dream of an insurance claim. You had insurance for catastrophic illness. If something bad happened, you ended up in the hospital, that kicked in. Mm-hmm. But not for everyday things, not for what's my copay on this is ridiculous.
Well, how did the doctors get rich?
By taking care of their patients. And they were wealthy. Mm-hmm. That's the crazy thing. They were wealthy. They were generally the wealthiest people around.
Wow.
Same way with lawyers. Not that that's a good comparison.
Not that it should be.
Right. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. I hadn't heard of the Great Society specifically. I thought you were going to start talking about like FDR.
Yeah, and that certainly predates it. I think for people alive now, so FDR started lots and lots and lots of stupid government programs that sucked a lot of capital into government, and that's when government began to really grow by going to war lots of times and creating the military-industrial complex. Government grew very big and powerful. But the idea was, you could always have beans or you could have bullets, but you couldn't have both. This was up until FDR. So if you were going to go to war, that meant that the people had to sacrifice something. And people that grew up during World War II in Korea had hard times because of that. And they knew that. They did not want to repeat it. They did not want to go to war. But with FDR, with President Johnson, he's like, wait, we can have the beans and we can have the bullets, and we'll do it. We'll show you how to do it with Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they started to slide off of the gold standard, and he pretty much accelerated all that. He came up with this huge program called the Great Society, where welfare was first introduced, where the idea of food stamps was first introduced as part of the war on poverty. And, again, now we've thrown trillions of dollars, and we have made no real dent in poverty. Arguably, people are better off slightly today, just because we've had a string of more free market friendly presidents that have kind of pushed back on it. But the fact that we're like throwing money at welfare to think that that's going to solve poverty makes as much sense as throwing money against the war on drugs.
Yeah,
it's not going to work. It just doesn't succeed. It never succeeds. And if you go back, you will have, charitable giving again. That's what I'd really like to see. I'd like to see people who don't have to pay taxes to pay for war, and then all the other stuff that goes along with it now.
And then they'd be more likely to want to give.
Yeah, I would.
Mm-hmm.
And I do anyway, but if I had more free money, I mean, you can only spend so much, and you want to do what's good. And I believe that about most people. They do want to take care of their fellow man, but they don't want to take care of their fellow man at the point of a gun. They don't want to be told that government will take care of your fellow man for you, and we'll take care of all of it, and it'll all be better. Because now they know it never happens.
And they can feel just as high and mighty, like we're the progressive people who we make sure that, people aren't poor. And it doesn't matter what stats you show them. I don't know what doesn't go through people's heads. It's like people like Sarah, it's like there are poor people and you give them money and their like quality of lives don't change.
Yeah.
And like the idea that you can just like vote to make people stop being homeless, 99% of those people are just, that's the way they're going to be. And it's like if they don't like snap out of it and want to help themselves, it won't matter if you just give them things.
Yeah, it just makes them more dependent, and you're eliminating any opportunity for them to say, hold on, I got to straighten myself out. They don't need to, so why would they? This is an interesting debate that I like to listen to someone like Sarah, and I also occasionally listen to The Five on Fox News, and they were talking about this tonight, and, talking about how Trump wants to, clean up the streets and all this stuff.
I have a story about that.
Cool, let's talk about that.
So we were talking just now and earlier in the show about homeless people and how they're more likely to be around in more progressive cities and towns because people think, well, we want to take care of these people by just making this, government building where they can line up and get like enough stuff to survive and then go spend their money that they beg for on drugs. Just keeping homeless around. That's basically what these programs do. Instead of like incentivizing anybody to go get their own money, become more productive parts of society. Yeah. And that's been a huge problem. It's just getting bigger and bigger. It's like when I am in a random little tiny town in Vermont and I see that the one bench in the middle of downtown has a homeless man sleeping on it, I'm like, what is that? Is just weird, you know? And that is not a thing you see in New Hampshire, like the bigger cities, but like the tiny cities in like places like Vermont, because they're so homeless friendly.
Right.
You have homeless in like these tiny little, just one white church in one main street towns.
and 4 or 5 homeless guys.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. The homeless problem is like the biggest thing that makes the imaginary line in between New Hampshire and Vermont so obvious and not imaginary. Is
very true.
You go from Keene, which I'm not saying is perfect. It has lots of homeless problem. It has like a big homeless problem. You go to Brattleboro, it's so much worse. Brattleboro, which is just 30 minutes from Keene over the Vermont border. You're dodging poop in the streets. I'm not trying to be funny even.
You're absolutely not. It's correct. It's real.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine who stopped by the store, and I hadn't seen him in years, and we were talking. He was headed back to Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, so after we leave here, he's like, hey, is Brattleboro nice? I'm like, dude, Brattleboro is where Rudyard Kipling is from. I mean, it has a lot of beauty, but you absolutely do not want to stop anywhere. Do not let your wheels stop rolling because you will be accosted by homeless.
It's not like I like totally and completely hate it. I probably wouldn't want to go there at night at all. But there's one coffee shop I really like there, and I'm not joking. I will like be dodging poop when I'm walking there, and I don't know if it's people just don't pick up their dog poop there, or if it's like the homeless they're sitting right there all over the place.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
And then there's like homeless, coming up to you too.
Reading a story today. My latest Brattleboro story was somebody was staying in a hotel, and because I think they still give out vouchers for hotel rooms to homeless in parts of Vermont.
Wow.
This family's daughter was accosted and tried to be talked into going into this room at like 8:40 at night by this.
Like a little kid?
Like a little girl this guy was really creepy, and I think he was wearing a women's top.
Oh, wow.
It was very strange.
Sounds very Brattleboro.
Yeah, very strange.
I believe it. I only bring up Brattleboro, pick on Brattleboro, because it's literally the place just across the river from us. So we have the story from statnews.com. Trump seeks to make it easier for people with mental illnesses to be involuntarily committed. Critics say the approach aimed at ending homelessness lacks sufficient evidence. And I want to learn more, but just off the bat, just from hearing just that, I feel like it's not the way to go. It's like these people get taken care of instead of just, how about we just stop keeping them alive? Like, giving them things. Like, I actually think if there is actually nothing for you to turn to, you've burned all your bridges in your life, you don't have one friend, you don't have the ability to stop doing drugs at all, you have no skills, unless you were actually like what's the word? Disabled.
Yes.
And it's not just you're making yourself disabled drugs. I just don't agree that other people should have to take care of people who are making themselves disabled drugs. Imagine if I was like, hitting myself with a hammer every day and breaking my own legs. Like, why should people take care of me for that?
Right. I need another wheelchair.
Yeah. I don't think this is a good way to go about it. Like, this just, to me, sounds like it's going to be putting homeless people in a probably pretty cushy environment for free.
Right.
They like to go to jail. Yeah,
I believe that more of the people that are homeless are a result of the war on drugs. First of all, I mean, it made
that's a huge point. Yeah,
scarcity of opiates, and then it outlawed and it just screwed up that entire market. So, how many people of the homeless are truly mentally afflicted? I mean,
yeah, just naturally without drugs.
Right. I mean, and I'm guessing that number is pretty dang low. I'm guessing that a lot more people are on the streets because of drugs, and throwing people with drug addiction into an asylum isn't addressing their problem. It's a health issue, so
yeah.
You can quit arresting them and start trying to help them get healthy. That has to happen, and it's not under Trump. He doesn't want to do that.
Maybe that's what this is going to be, kind of the first step towards, but I'm not really sure. Have you heard about this at all? This Trump making it easier to get involuntarily committed?
This is what they were talking about on the 5, and they were saying, you can say all these people are all mentally ill, but if you really look at it, I doubt if these people have serious mental illnesses. I think they have addiction problems. Of course, their solution was then just throw them all in jail.
Well, then there's also all the people that are just self-reporting mental illness. Like, every time I go to the doctor and they're like, have you felt sad recently? I'm like, no, never.
Yeah.
I've never been sad, ever. And they want you to self-report that you're depressed and anxious and all that stuff. And all the people who are, like, just taking on trendy mental illnesses like transgenderism.
Right.
Like, are they just going to be picked up? Kind of, labeled yourself with that.
Wait, tell me more. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying there are lots of different things that people label themselves as.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I believe they should become involuntarily committed over it. That's why I tell people I would never put organ donor on my ID card, and I would never tell the doctor that I'm depressed.
Right.
Maybe if you absolutely have no one else in your entire life to turn to for help, and you believe that your depression is 100% a medical issue, I would say you should look up some counter studies to that, because there are people that have looked at the studies. So what do they call it when they do a review of all studies?
Peer reviews, or...
Yeah, I think I'm thinking of a different word, but it's not a study in and of itself. They'll go look at all the studies, and there have been people that said, wow, we really need to pump the brakes, because none of these studies they're relying on to say, oh, chemical imbalances equals depression, actually are saying that. Let's look at these studies. People are just claiming that's what they say. But we do have a caller in the line, so I want to see who is calling us. Unscreened caller, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, it's Uber George. Nice to talk to you again, Bonnie.
Hey, Uber George. Yeah.
Yeah, I just decided to call because I just rented through Uber. They had this program where you can rent vehicles, and they gave me a Tesla for a whole week, and I just want to come out and say that that's a complete ripoff.
Really? Why?
Why is that?
Well, at least compared to my current car. The thing of it is, you got to charge that thing twice a day doing Uber full time on there, and each time it takes at least half an hour to 45 minutes, depending on how close you are to a charger, or even an hour, really, if you got to drive a bit.
Wow.
Yeah, right there. So and so you're wasting as much as an hour where you could be driving, and not only that, but those Tesla supercharging stations, they charge you.
Yeah.
And if you do it during the day, it's twice as much. In order to get a really good charging rate, you got to wait till well late at night, 11 at night or even midnight, depending on the location, to get half, where it'll only charge you half as much to charge up your car. It literally cost me for 1 week $125 to charge, just to charge that thing.
How much would you have spent in gas? Would you guess?
I'd say 70 right there.
So, yeah.
$75, yeah, because I only fill up 3 times a week with my current car.
So close to double the cost. That's crazy.
Yeah, and my car goes over twice as far on a charge. The Tesla they gave me is supposed to be 250 miles of range, but here's another fun fact about running an EV, at least with this Tesla, is that you park it overnight. I just charged it full, done for the night, go home.
Right.
And I only lose I lost 4 or 5 miles of charge between the charger and my house. When I get to my car the next morning, it shows you only got now 203 miles of range. No joke.
Crazy.
Can you go to the rental place and tell them you want a regular car?
Right.
Real car?
Yeah, at the time they didn't have any available.
Oh, okay, that sounds about right. 603-283-6160. You can call in with whatever is on your mind. Thanks to Uber George for the call. 603-283-6160. More Free Talk Live coming up. Don't go anywhere. It's Free Talk Live.
Hey, you are going to love the movie Victimless Crime Spree. It's hilarious, heartwarming, and carries a ton of inspiring freedom messages. Feeling down about the lack of liberty in your life? You need to put on this film with some friends and have a good laugh. It's a true story about me and my friends in New Hampshire living free, singing, dancing, and getting arrested. Of course, it's all on video, and the bad guys, the cops, judges, bailiffs, and sheriffs, they all play their part like it's out of a movie or something. You would think we scripted the whole thing, but it's real life. Go ahead and have a watch, and if it's been a while, have another look. I guarantee you'll notice things now that you didn't notice before. And the best part is that you're going to walk away feeling a renewed sense of your own power. You are the master of your destiny, and you will be free in your lifetime. Victimless Crime Spree.
From Feature Story News in San Francisco, I'm Ira Spitzer with a look back at some of the week's top stories. More than 100,000 people have fled the bloodiest border fighting between Thailand and Cambodia in a decade. FSN's Laura Westbrook reports.
The Thai Interior Ministry said more than 100,000 people from 4 border provinces had been moved to nearly 300 temporary shelters. Fighting on Thursday was focused on 6 locations, according to the Thai army. Ground troops, backed up by tanks, battled for control of territory, while Cambodia fired rockets and shells into Thailand, and the Thais scrambled F-16 jets to hit military targets across the border. Both sides blamed each other for firing first. The fighting marks a dramatic escalation in a long-running dispute between the neighbours over their shared 800-kilometre frontier. Dozens of kilometres in several areas are contested, and fighting broke out between 2008 and 2011. A UN court ruling in 2013 settled the matter for over a decade, but the current crisis erupted in May when a Cambodian soldier was killed in a clash. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
France's president said that he will formally recognize the state of Palestine in September, making it the first G7 country to do so. FSN's Ross Cullen reports.
This is a major decision by the French leader, though not a departure from France's long-standing position of recognising a two-state solution. His move has been hailed by the French left and condemned by the right, and Emmanuel Macron will be holding a call with the British Prime Minister and the German Chancellor on Friday to discuss the situation in Gaza and what the World Health Organization says is man-made mass starvation. Ross Cullen, Paris.
The singer Ozzy Osbourne died at the age of 76. The British musician was known as one of the founding fathers of heavy metal and became a global megastar as the frontman of Black Sabbath. His style and music inspired generations of musicians to come, but as well as his music, he was also known for his wild lifestyle, as FSN's John Beaver reports.
His battles with drink and drugs was well known, and those dependency issues led to what many people said was a Jekyll and Hyde situation, where when he was fighting his addiction demons, he became a very difficult man to be around. He credited his wife Sharon with helping save his life and keep him alive for many decades and really turn his life around. And of course, it was alongside her and their children when he became hugely famous all over again, when their pioneering reality TV show, The Osbournes, made it on air in the early 2000s. That really brought him a whole new generation of fans.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is F.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. That means that you can call 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. And with you on Free Talk Live tonight, you've got me, Bonnie.
And Chris.
And in the whole show, the last three hours, or I guess 2.5 hours, we have talked to many different callers, brought up many different subjects, and Sarah, basically every time she calls in, she's a welfare recipient, for those that don't know.
Proud welfare recipient.
Yeah, and proud communist, and she likes to bring up all the topics about homelessness. We need more money to go to the government to get to her and other poor people who can't work, etc. Those are the type of topics Sarah likes, and also pedestrian safety. But when we talked to Sarah, the question came up. The question didn't come up with Sarah on the line. My bad. So we started talking about homeless people. She always talks about homeless people. The question she brought up and we started talking about was more people giving to charity and how it could happen without the government.
She's of the belief that no one would voluntarily give money to charity to help the homeless.
Yeah.
Period. No one.
She's always speaking in she's using language in terms of grouping people together is what I'm trying to say. And she's always saying that richer people don't care at all about the homeless and the poor.
Why would they?
They don't give to charity. She's always saying, like, she basically answered your question saying, like, all business owners are greedy.
Yeah.
But I guess we did move on from that topic, and then we were talking about just, like, homeless people in general, because that topic begat the homeless people topic.
Right. And the idea that all these people, this will all be solved by Trump making it much easier to throw all homeless people into insane asylums. And us asking, are they really there because they are there because of mental illness, or are they there mostly because of drug abuse?
Yeah, and are they just going to go sit in a bed and be like spoon sped their drug of choice? The other thing about it is, we didn't even really get into this. Trump making it easier to involuntarily commit people scares me for not crazy people.
Oh, know? Yeah, it'll be used politically.
That's definitely one of my bigger fears.
Or it could be used politically.
Yeah.
For example, all Democrats must obviously be mentally ill. Mm-hmm. So, Trump forever.
Yep, since like 2016, they've been kind of letting themselves get crazier and crazier and post videos of themselves acting crazy and defending it like, this is social justice warriors and we're just progressive and we're moving forward and you can't stop it. Well, you have all these videos of yourself looking absolutely crazy now.
Yeah.
Is that going to be used against them? And I'm not saying it should. I'm saying that it should scare you that the government's getting more power in this way.
Yeah, and that's what they don't seem to realize. Both parties love to give the president more power while their guy is in. That is so short-sighted because you know it's not going to last. Mm-hmm. And here is why we don't have nice things. That's it. You keep doing this. You keep giving these tyrants more and more power and then complain about it as soon as they leave office.
Yep. And your less favorite tyrant isn't in power.
Right. Who's going to do the exact same thing, and his base is going to do the same thing.
Well, we have a caller on the line, so I'm going to go to the phones. We have David in New Mexico on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind, David?
Can Richie come out and play?
He's not here right now. He's usually
He'll be here tomorrow.
I think he will be here tomorrow.
Call tomorrow.
I can't wait that long.
Come on. I want to have a mediation between you and Richie.
Yep, he'll be here tomorrow.
Okay. That I'm down for.
Mediation?
You should show up and moderate, because that's what Richie needs, is a moderator.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm being serious, dude.
Who was on the day that, I think it was like Mark, that was on the day that you guys got in a fight?
Hey, those two were arguing. It was me and Richie Rich, and that wasn't that long ago, but you guys were going at each other. Come on now.
When are you talking about?
When you were calling him like a fatty.
Yeah, but what Richie was talking about, I'd completely forgotten about. It goes all the way back to when he first showed up, and he punctuates. This is a formal psych term, punctuation on a conversation. He punctuates it one way, and I punctuate it another way. The way that Richie punctuates it is that he showed up, and that I basically beat up on him when he tried to, say stuff. And from the way I punctuated is I was trying to make some points, and he kept interrupting, and it pissed me off. And so I shut him down. And so from that very moment, for all of these years, then he makes sure to not let me push him around, is the way I read it.
And you just call him a fatty.
Well, I did that one time out of how many conversations or attempted conversations?
I don't know. It was the only time I've been on Sunday night in the last 6 months, at least the last year. Actually, the last 10 years. The only
Was
Sunday
Mark also
night.
on?
No, it was just me and Richie. But yeah, you were ad hominem a bit. He was.
Yeah, it's called how many years of pent up. Tired of Richie's stuff, and so what you heard is the culmination, the pressure valve blowing out, and it was so terrible. I called him Fat Boy. Oh no,
it wasn't terrible. It was just the first time that I had ever done a show with Richie Rich, and you happened to call in, and that was it. I was like, wow. Sunday.
Yeah, you need to charge admission for that, and replace Hulk. We can replace Hulk Hogan. Richie can be whatever. He can be the Hulk Hogan replacement, and I'll be the bad guy that everybody hates. Boo, boo.
You'll be the heel.
Yeah, there you
go. Like I said, that's the only time it ever happened. The one time I had you and Richie on together, you both blew up, and I was like, wow. Okay. Yeah. So what'd you call about?
It's your fault. Lots of stuff. But you're talking about poor people on welfare. You mean like these illegals next to me that run their generator 24/7?
Well, we can talk about them, but how many people... Statistically, more white people are getting welfare than illegals.
Oh, it's funny you should mention that, because we got some white trash, Okie types that moved in from California, and guess what? They got a generator too.
Wow! So what are these? They're just setting up homeless camps with generators.
How are people supposed to live out there without a generator?
What do you like? All of us did for 20 years before the COVID people showed up with all their generators, dude.
What if they have hair like mine that can't be subjected to humidity?
Oh, bad hair day on the Llano. Oh, I got to get a generator.
Like there is a camping festival in Michigan that when my friends were like, "Oh, do you want to go to this camping festival? It's a
Electric Forest, by any chance?
No, it's the Midwest Peace and Liberty Fest, which is not a very good name, but it's like a pork fest but smaller in Michigan. And I looked into it, and it was like, this is primitive camping, and I was like, I can't do that.
See ya.
That's not possible.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
How can you not do primitive camping?
Because of my hair.
Jesus.
Oh. Oh my God, Bonnie.
You probably think I'm joking.
No, she's not.
I don't. I know you're perfectly serious. That's the scary part.
Yeah, I don't understand how people could do that.
Okay, so I'm kind of new to all this generator hoopla that you got going out there. What?
Yeah, Chris, they won't do it. They won't do it, Chris. We've tried.
So they won't what?
Chris said, tell them to bury the generator 3 feet below grade and cover it with boards. I thought of that, and we tried.
I wasn't going to say that, but it's a good idea.
Well, I think I had told you, like they say no, like they don't want to. They want it loud.
Well, I'll give you an exact quote. So the black refugees, the escaped slaves from California, the dude, when I tried helping them for hours and hours, so did my buddy, the guy that lives closer to them. He actually gave them hundreds of dollars worth of his generator muffling equipment, and they wouldn't use it properly anyway. Then so finally, the last time that I ever went over there, it's like, okay, so I've been nice. Okay, so I'm going to go over there and not be so nice. And he threw in my face the line that these these land companies that sit in their air-conditioned office in Las Vegas, and they buy land off the internet, and then they get a whole bunch of it, and then they re-advertise it on their land site for twice as much as they bought it for. and then all these lowlifes with no money, just $1,000 or $2,000. Well, they don't even do that. They don't have $2,000 to buy the acre outright, so they pay their $225 a month on installment payments for the next 7 years.
Okay.
And so this black dude, I finally went over there. He was the oldest son of this lady that the man of the house. And I went over there about their generator one night about midnight, and here's what he said. And he got this from these land people. They're the ones messing it up. He said, "It's my land. I can do what I want."
Okay.
Well, what do you think of that? What do you think of that, Chris?
So what's your problem is a noise complaint. Generators running at all hours of the night. And I'm reluctant to point to a zoning ordinance, or is this against your local zoning ordinance? Do they have a noise ordinance?
I'm glad you asked, Chris, because I tried to get law enforcement and the county itself to enforce it, because they actually, they have a county commission, and they voted a noise ordinance into effect, and but they won't enforce it out here for these people.
Okay. So, what has been your effort to come to terms with them, other than just turn it off? You've tried to, you've offered time and money and expertise to help them make it quieter. They don't have electric power. They just have a generator. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, but like I said, for 20 years before them, nobody else out here ran a generator, and they all get along just fine with their solar panels.
Wait, what's the whole story with you asked the cops to come out?
So
there's a noise ordinance. There's a noise ordinance in our county, but the county won't enforce it against these people.
Okay. So
I think it's a really difficult question, because
I understand it. It's just unfortunate that it's happening, and David, it seems like you've gone to some effort to try to come up with some way of addressing it that did not avoid. Go ahead.
No. We went to great effort. We gave them, between me and my neighbor over here that unfortunately was even closer to them, we gave them literally hundreds of dollars worth of materials, and these materials had labor mixed with them. My buddy had put in somewhere between a dozen and 20 hours of his labor building a baffle box, I think is what they call it, to put around his generator that he never runs. And so he gave it to these people, and then they wouldn't bother to use it.
Okay. So
what it comes down to, I'll just cut to the chase. What it comes down to is not all people are created equal. There are retards out there, okay? Yeah. And inmates do not get to be allowed to run the asylum. If you have an IQ of 85, you're not going to tell people who have IQs of 125 how to live their lives. And you should agree with this, because you were actually talking about it earlier on your program. You were talking about how neighbors don't communicate amongst themselves. That's by design. That's the way we did it in the old days. Is we had a decentralized network of neighbors and welfare, and we worked it out. And then what happened, and this is by communist design, literally, you can actually read it in the 45 whatever of the communist
manifesto. Huh? Yes.
Yeah, you can read it in there. The communists have it right in their manifesto to take over government, and then have government do the functions that used to be done by community. And here's what happens now. Because, and you can picture this in your own mind. Okay, let's say, one neighbor has a complaint against the other, like we just talked about. And if neighbor A goes over to neighbor B and says, hey, your generator is really loud, can we do something about that? Then nowadays, because the neighbor B is not subject to neighbor A or any of the other 100 neighbors they have, because the neighbors have no say anymore, it's only the government through the cops. And if the cops won't do anything about it, then the neighbor can just sit there behind his property line, give you the finger, and say, nah, 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 nah. You know, Big Brother won't help you.
Incentives have been all messed up because it's like that guy would have relied on his neighbors for tons of things back in the day, but now, like what David is saying, the government takes care of all that stuff, including, like, there's no such thing as a duel. If David went over and was like, let me duel you over it, he'd go to jail. Incentives are all messed up.
Something else. Let's talk, you know, the American Indian, right? The noble American Indian, right?
Okay.
Okay. So now, the noble American Indian, they don't believe in zoning, right?
I don't know.
Other than the fact that they got zoned onto a reservation.
Oh, wait a minute, Chris. Before they got zoned onto a reservation, how did it go down? Okay, so let me tell you how it went down. Native Americans had zoning way more than you have now, because if you came on their land, they would not just kill you, they would torture you first.
Oh.
That's a fact. Read history.
So yes, absolutely. And as such, they respected the other tribe's land, and you didn't go over there unless you were willing to die for it. I get that.
Right. The American Indians, like the Apaches and the Comanches and everybody who was down south, they did not let no Mexicans onto their land.
Okay, but what does that have to do with your... I don't understand how we got here. Because in your situation, it's like one tribe. Your neighborhood should be just like one tribe, so not like inter-tribe relations.
Well, the problem is it's not what we addressed that in that there is no tribe anymore. A tribe is a community. There is no community here because the government destroyed that. And they did it on purpose using the 45 points in the communist whatever that was read into the congressional record back in whatever year it was read into the congressional record. Okay? And so now what we have is a bunch of individuals and the decentralized network. Obviously, you know what that is, right?
Sure.
As compared to a centralized or hub and spoke network, right?
Okay.
So what we had in the old day was a decentralized network of helping your neighbors and getting along, which is what you were saying earlier, Chris. What we have today, that has been broken down and forced at the point of a gun, literally, by your cops, your enforcers, to be gone and replaced with a hub and spoke centralized government. Big brother, you got a problem with your neighbor, you don't go over and deal with your neighbor, you call the cops, and they're the only ones allowed to deal with anything.
I agree.
And the cops are retards. So how does that work?
I agree too. Then maybe they should be the first ones to go into Trump's insane asylums. All police. No, I'm just kidding.
Who would put him in there? The thing is, in places like Mexico, if a cop kills someone, then the cop is hanging in the street the next week, so the cops don't kill people.
Right.
So nobody's going to do something like that against the cops, like bring them to any kind of justice, even if that justice is an insane asylum. In America, they're all too scared.
So, David, you just need to move. That's
what I'm doing, dude.
Okay.
That's what he's been saying for a year.
But that's well, it's because
come up with a new one.
What's the expression? No, because blah 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 because stuff, I forget, stuff, whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, but what I was trying to say before Bonley rudely interrupted me was let's see. Go ahead, talk. I forgot what it was. Never mind. I'll interrupt you.
He said you need to move.
Yeah, well,
there we go.
I mean...
Wait, I remembered.
Quick.
So how ridiculous is it? You know, what if you had... Let's make it personal. Chris and Bonnie, your little old great-grandmother who's 96 years old, and some low-life... Let's see, they sell drugs, they play rock and roll all night long, they run their generator, there's pot smoke constantly coming in Granny's window... And
they're not sharing any of it.
Huh? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And Granny is on Social Security and lives on $950 a month, and her house is paid off, so she doesn't qualify for food stamps, and she can't afford to move. Not to mention she's on death's door, which I guess will solve the problem. But she should have to move because some retard lowlifes move in next door to her, and they're and everybody's a libertarian.
This is the kind of thing that's like, strong men just don't exist. Like when there was like a really gross, homelessly, I don't know, looking guy walking up and down my street in the other day, I asked my sister's boyfriend to just go tell him not to walk on my street anymore.
Right.
I think he just stopped coming back. I don't think he ever had to do it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That would solve that problem.
Right. Or in the case of our fictitious joint 96-year-old grandmother,
joint.
That's where families should pony up. And, there was a time when parents, as they got older and older, their kids took them in.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Granny doesn't want to move, and you're saying that because some low-life retards move in next to her, the burden is on Granny, who has never bothered anybody. She's the one that's got to change her life.
Yeah.
Sometimes if the whole neighborhood gets ghetto.
Yeah. The parents have to change, the kids.
The whole neighborhood never got ghetto before Big Brother government got in Great New Society or whatever it was.
I agree with that point that you're making. I also thought you were going to go a different direction earlier when you were saying, oh, it's in the Communist Manifesto. I thought you were going to go the direction of the quality of our neighbors is not the same because they import 60 IQ people from sub-Saharan Africa who would never naturally get here. I'm not against somebody who is just you know what? I'm going to get myself to America for a better life. That is not the same thing as non-governmental organizations shipping people here.
David says they can get those people from California. So what's the difference?
Yeah, not only can
I don't know if they're really
do
60 IQ. Are they? I'm talking really bad.
No, but they're literally 95 IQ, which is 5 points lower than average, and average is already retarded.
Yeah, that's. I'm just gonna sound like the old guy on The Simpsons. Just some of this stuff needs to go back to what worked throughout human history, where children take care of the parents and parents move in with their kids and when they get to be a certain age and that has to happen again. And it can't be, if you're on Medicaid, then they'll pay for you and a home, which takes all the responsibility off every member of that family. The parents don't have to save up for retirement, and children don't need to take care of their parents anymore. And none of it's worked out. Nothing.
It's all by design to destroy society.
I believe it.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm with you, man.
But honestly, sometimes the solution is moving, and I'm always the person to say acting like you are the only person on the planet who should never have to move and everything else should change for you is not going to work out.
It won't.
It's been Free Talk Live. Go to freetalklive.com for more. Thanks for listening. Peace.
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. In addition to being one of the world's first cryptocurrencies, Dash was the first crypto project to have a decentralized autonomous organization that to this day continues to improve and promote Dash. Every month, 10% of the mining rewards go into a treasury. Anyone with one Dash to spend can put forward a proposal to the Dash masternodes. The masternodes vet the proposals and decide which ones move forward and are funded by that treasury. Nowadays, DAOs are plentiful, but Dash paved the way by doing it first, nearly a decade ago. Dash is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges, including the decentralized Maya protocol.